Hi, good morning, guys. Welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. If you guys can see and hear me, I think some of you have already joined us in the live stream. Type a GM for good morning. Hi. Let me see who is here joining us today. Hi, Liz. Good morning as well. Edward, Emily, good morning. We have Thomas as well. Peter, you're typing your stocks as well. Peter, welcome. Let's see. Josephine, good morning. Ray, hi. Andy, a lot of familiar names. Hi, good morning as well. Wasong, morning, guys. Brandon, definitely every Friday I see your name here. Thank you so much. James as well. Jolene, hi. Okay, Esther as well. Okay, good. Welcome to the Ask Me Any Stocks session. And you have been following me, guys. Every Friday, me and my team, we go live since like beginning of last year. In fact, more than 1.5 years we've been doing this, right? Just to add more value to you guys, all right, to give you a quick opinion on your stocks, all right, and we alternate between the US market and the Singapore market. So today is back to the Singapore market. So what does this mean? Well, essentially, if you are buying or selling, or you're looking to buy and sell any Singapore stock, whether DBS or whatever, any stock, right, and you want a quick opinion on your Singapore stock, you are in the right place. All right, Ken. So as the name of this live show goes, right, Ask Me Any Stock. So today is back to the Singapore session because last Friday was US, next Friday back to the US. So we alternate between the Singapore and the US market. So very quickly, right, we'll do a quick market outlook. All right, we will go ahead to cover maybe the S&P 500 index very quickly, just a quick roundup of what has happened in the US market. And of course, we will look at the Singapore's STI. Why? Because today is the Singapore market, so of course we look at the STI just to get a better understanding of where the Singapore stock market is in terms of the index is right now. All right, and after that, that's where we'll dive into your Singapore stocks. All right, so I think some of you have already typed in the name of the Singapore stocks in the chat. Very good. If you do that later, do type in a little bit of context. All right, don't just type one name of the stock, but I also don't know what you want to do with the stock. All right, you want to buy, you want to sell, you got in last year, last month, last week, what price? All right, or maybe you're looking to get in, I also don't know. All right, so give us a bit of context so that when we analyze, you can get more value. All right, a little bit more personalized to you as well. Does it make sense, Mom? All right, and that's where we will also give you a bit more priority lah. All right, compared if you just type one name there, and then you give me 10 names there, probably we'll skip yours lah. All right, but if you type one name, give us a bit of context. All right, we will do our best to cover as many stocks as possible, right? And yeah, make sure you stay all the way to the end as well, because at the end, that's where, after covering your stocks, me and my team will go ahead to share with you 3 top Singapore stocks that we have in our watch list that looks pretty bullish still. Perhaps we've been covering it over the past few weeks or past few months, but it still looks good. You might want to put them in your watch list to write even more upside. All right, so that's what will happen. And just to share, guys, this show is sponsored by SocGen DLCs, right? Later, when we cover maybe some of your stocks, that is where I and my team will also share with you how you can potentially use what we call DLCs, daily leverage certificates, right? It's just like a normal stock on the Singapore exchange, right? And that's where you can potentially multiply your returns, your ROI, all right, on that same stock by about 5 times. All right, it gives you 5x the performance by using DLC. Later I'll share more. But essentially today is this show is sponsored by SocGen. So very good to see you guys over here today. And if you guys have not liked and share, would it be okay? Would it be okay, guys, if you help me to like and share? Help me to like and share. All right, and of course, if you have not yet subscribed as well, go ahead to hit the subscribe button. We are live on Facebook as well, YouTube. So go ahead to follow us as well, so that when we go live in the future, you can be alerted as well. All right, thank you so much. Give us some heart shapes, guys. Thank you so much. Heart shapes in there. Okay, very good. Okay, now let's get started. Let me just go introduce myself in case you have not seen me before. Very first time you're seeing me on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Well, my name is Joey Choy, top tier MyZero trader in Philips Securities. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now. My specialty is pretty much in stocks, all right? Singapore stocks, US stocks, a little bit of Hong Kong stocks, but Hong Kong market not so good, so not really on Hong Kong now, all right? But Singapore and US for now. And I've been doing what I call, or using what I call the one good trend strategy, right? Basically, this one good trend strategy is where we kind of ride trends. All right, we want to be in the same direction as a trend. We time our entry to get in along with the trend, when to get in, when to get out. We have a tool, an indicator to help us as well. And that's what we'll be using later as well to identify or to get ready to get in on stocks, on your stocks, maybe to get out as well. All right, we have a tool that in a matter of seconds, we can turn it on, it comes out, or it triggers what we call bullish or bearish signals. All right, so the one good trend strategy. Today, I do have time to explain to you the whole strategy. All right, we do have what we call a 7-step checklist to that breaks it all down, right? So no time to explain everything. Today is more on your stocks, pump, just cover as many as possible, right? But if you want to find out a little bit more about the entire one good trend strategy, we do have a webinar, all right, planned not this month. We don't do it every other month. This is not really my full-time job to teach, all right? So maybe next month there's one webinar, all right? I think on the 4th of August, on a Tuesday. The link is right in the chat. Click on it, right? Register for this webinar. And this way I come break it all down for you even more. All right, so the link is right in the chat. Yeah, I think my team has placed it in the chat. Click on it. Register for the One Good Trend workshop. It's an online Zoom webinar, all right? And that's where I will spend more time to break it all down for you. But today, seriously, no time, all right? We want to make sure I give value to you on your stocks. Okay, Ken? Okay, let me just go ahead to, introduce my team member as well. Today, not just me, but I have my team joining me as well. We have Bervin. All right, so Z is working on other projects. So 2 of my team members will try to join me each time every Friday on our Ask Me Any Stock session. So today we have Bervin, right, one of the top brokers under me in Philips Securities, assisting our thousands of clients. Not just that, assisting our group coaching sessions with our graduates, our one-on-one calls with our mentees, assisting our team's portfolio manager with an 8-figure portfolio management business as well. And Bervin is not just very strong in a one good trend strategy, but he's also very strong fundamentally as well. He is a CFA chartered holder, right? Basically, one of the highest qualification one can ever get in the finance space. So I do consult him as well, not just on technical, but also on the fundamentals of a stock. And he does give me a bit of insights as well, right? So maybe let me pass on the mic to Bervin to see how he can add more value to you guys today. All right, Bervin, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey, for the introduction. First of all, welcome back, everyone. Good morning to everyone as well. Thank you for joining us on our weekly AMAS session. Like Joey have mentioned, today we are covering the Singapore market. I'm seeing so many song requests actually in the chat. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, that's good. That means you're monitoring the market, right? You're concerned about your portfolio, concerned about your holdings. All right. So of course, like what Joey mentioned today, we don't have time to go through the entire 7-point checklist. But if you need any quick opinions, all right, first of all, quick opinions on your stocks. You want to do it yourself, you want to have just a quick opinion on your stocks, do check out what we call the 1GT Lite. All right, so Joey was talking about the 1GT Pro, the whole 7-point checklist, but I think the 1GT Lite is something not to be missed out. All right, by just having this indicator free for 14 days, you can actually just get a quick opinion on the stocks that you are actually looking at. Not just the Singapore stocks, even the US stocks, even what Joey mentioned, the Hong Kong stocks, it's all available there. As long as on TradingView, it will be there. All right, so I think without further ado, I think I'd like to pass the time back to Joey to introduce our next team member.
Yep. Thank you so much. Right. So later we'll share more about the indicator. All right. But the link is right in the chat if you want to check out this indicator, whereby we have a free trial for the One Good Trend Lite version. Simpler version comes up with bullish and bearish signals in seconds. Check it out. Link is right in the chat. Now, let me just go introduce our team member as well, Jia Yi, who is joining us today. Also one of the top brokers under me in Philips Securities. Very well versed in the entire One Good Trend strategy. Very, I would say, well versed in his specialty. I call it a price action, that he is looking at candlestick very well. And I do consult Jia Yi as well on that. So maybe let me pass on the mic to Jia Yi to share a little bit on his expertise and himself. Jia Yi.
All right, thank you, Joey. So now, welcome to this AMS weekly AMS. So for those who are joining us for the first time, I'm Jia Yi over here, and I've been working along with Joey since like 2023, supporting like operations, client servicing, and trade execution since then. So yeah, I think for this week we'll be focusing our attention on Singapore market. How has Singapore market been? And I believe if you guys has been looking at the Singapore market, then you can notice that the banks has been doing quite well. And these are a few counters that we've been also looking at quite closely for the past few weeks. So I think for today's format is very simple. No, we will be just doing a quick overview of the market, and afterwards, what we want to focus on is the stocks that you guys need a quick analysis on. So I think without further ado, maybe I'll pass back my time to Joey to kick off today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. So let's get started. All right, let's get started. 3 of us joining here today, giving you value, making sure that you take away something. So thanks for joining us. All right, let's go to take a look at what we call the market very quickly in a few seconds. But before that, right, just a quick disclaimer. As usual, right, whatever that's being shared today by me or my team, just for education purposes only. All right, so we're not asking you to buy or sell anything. All right, please do a bit of homework as well. All right, we're just sharing with you guys our opinions, our thought process, the framework based on the One Good Trend strategy, and of course the One Good Trend Pro indicator as well. All right, so you decide on your own actions and you control it. Cool. All right, Ken. So let's get started. Let's go to take a look at very quickly the markets. Type M for markets, guys. If you want me to cover the markets very, very quickly, M for markets. All right, M for markets. Let me know. M for markets. Wow, I see a lot more of you have joined us. We have like more than 150, more than 180 of you joining us on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Good morning, guys. Welcome. A few new names popping up as well. Hi, Wei Jiok as well. M, Joseph, morning as well. M for market, Michelle, Carol, market. Very good. Now, let's take a look at the market very quickly. This is what I call the S&P 500 index, right? That is the very popular index that tracks the top 500 companies in the US, right? The level or the points right now is 7,543, right? Team, place the banner. You can see right now that resistance is right over here at 7,600. Right over here, you can see, right? We have been, consolidating, I would say, below this 7,600 for the past 1 over month already. I think that is a very key resistance level to market. All right. Seems like every time we're near there, something comes back and we retrace back down. So if you've been following the news, I would say that the news that's affecting the market would be a little bit of inflationary pressures, some talk about a potential rate hikes, the market sell down. All right. Of course, there's some talks about AI being overvalued, overstretched in terms of their valuations. It comes down again. All right. And then there's some positive news flow, all right, regarding like some new tech IPOs coming out, it starts to rebound, or maybe there are some, positive developments between US and Iran. That's where the market rebounds as well. So over the past, few days, sold off a little bit. There's some tensions escalating. There was a 60-day ceasefire between US and Iran, but unfortunately, it escalated a little bit. Oil prices spiked up a little bit as well, all right, due to, I think, Iran firing on some commercial vessels, sailing through the Straits of Hormuz. And of course, the US retaliated, by firing on some of Iran's facilities. Of course, they're saying that, it's still being controlled. There's still ongoing talks. It did not get out of hand yet. But I think as and whenever there are any new skirmishes between US and Iran, the market sell off a little bit, but buyers starts to return again to bargain hunt. So I think right now, we are, I would say, in terms of the chart-wise, we are in a very good consolidation in the short term. Very clearly, this support have came out 7,250, right down, I think 7,250. That seems to be a very good support. We have neared it about 2 times. 1, 2, last week neared it, rebounded again, but ultimately we're still below 7,600 level for the S&P 500 index. So you can see the long-term trend for S&P is up. Right, we have been talking about this since last year. The red above the blue, both pointing up. Long-term trend, no problem. Right, no problem at all. Very good. Right. In fact, when we saw selling in the short-term trend, look at this. Right. So before the US and Iran war started, the green 20 days moving average line was flat. It means the short-term trend was flat. But when the US-Iran war started, look at this. Right, February, March, down. Right, short-term trend went down. Right, but the moment it turned up, there we go. Very strong reversal in the tech stocks, the AI plays that led the recovery. All right. But the green line, you can see the green line over the past 2-3 weeks. From up, started to flatten now. Right. At least it's not down. Does it make sense? So what I'm trying to say is that it's not as if like the green 20-day moving average line is like, going down again. If like that, then you want to be careful. That's where we could see a potential retracement. We might break 7,250, maybe to go back to 7,000. All right, but are we seeing that? No. It seems like some buying pressure have came out. I think so far, there's a lot of money on the sidelines waiting to come back, waiting to bargain hard on any dips. So we are actually seeing a good sideways breather, rest, right, after the massive rally since early of April, which is healthy. So what I like is that, we normally like to see the market kind of like, resting for a while, up and down, up and then down, up, maybe down again, I don't know, up again, down again, up again, right, and pump. If we break the 7,600, that is where a new phase can begin. We can potentially push higher, maybe all the way to 8,000, right, for the S&P 500 index. So I think right now, it just looks to be a little bit, resting, all right, taking a rest, consolidating sideways, nothing too bad, as it trades below 7,600. But if that gives way, we could potentially see more upside. And if I can turn on what I call the bullish and bearish signals from my one good trend pro indicator, right? So right over here, you can see, right? I have this tool right over here. I've turned on the 3 moving averages, all right? Turn it off. That's it, nothing, right? But let's turn it on. There we go. It gives me a quick idea of the longer term trend and the short term trend. So we have established that the long term trend is up. I mean, since last year it's up, so they are very easy to see, okay? But the short term trend, it was like up. The green line was up, and then now it's sideways, right? Not down. Maybe a little bit up, but it's not really down, right? So sideways to up. Right now, what about the signals? Right? Can we turn on the 1GT bullish and bearish signals to see what it says? 1, 2, 3, the very first box. Let's go. There we go. All right. You can see that. Well, I'll not go too far, but every time we get a bearish signal, guys, you can see that. That's where US-Iran war started. We started to sell down. But when a bullish signal comes back, look at this, right? Very nice recovery. The green line turns up. There we go. Now, over the past 2-3 weeks, as I mentioned, right, we saw a bit of selling. A 1GT bearish signal popped up as well. You can see right over here. Okay, so it doesn't mean we get a bearish signal means it's going to crash and go all the way down. No, but it just means that some selling have came back. Right, we're no longer in a very nice uptrend, pump, going higher. No, we are taking a rest. A bit of resistance that came out, and as I mentioned, that will be the 7,600, right? So we got a bearish signal. Well, correct. A little selling have came back near 7,600, but the green line, as I mentioned, is not really going down, so still okay. Now, what I'm looking for is this, as I say, we got a bearish signal. Doesn't mean it's going to crash. In fact, I think some good support have came out near 7,250. If a new 1GT, I don't know when it'll come out, but let's assume we break 7,600. And if we do trigger a new 1GT bullish signal, I think that is where the market will be even more bullish. All right, we would have got out of this 1-2 months sideways consolidation phase, and that's where I think targets could be revised to 8,000 for the S&P 500 index. All right, so we got a bearish signal. Well, resting a little while, right? I would say I'm looking. So what we can do is very simple. I mean, based on this tool that I have, right? We can set an alert. All right, we can, as I say, we can turn it on any stocks, any asset classes, even the markets. This is the market, S&P. All right, we can turn it on. So if a new bullish signal gets triggered, like for example, one good trend pro, buy or sell alert, once only, you can see I can set a notification, right? An app notification, a pop-up. People can send me email as well, right? Nobody will WhatsApp you, but basically there's an app notification on TradingView. If you set it, that's it, right? Create. So when a new bullish signal comes out, I think that's where, I don't know, it'll be as powerful as what we saw in April, but look at this, right? Pump, da, 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 da. Right? So if the new bullish signal comes out, I think that's where something that I really want to look at, right? Because we could really see a lot more momentum, upside momentum coming back again. Does it make sense? All right, so that is the 7,600. Watch that level. I'm not too sure exactly when it will give way, but if it does, we could really start to see a lot more strength, and not just the blue chips, but in the AI sector, the AI tech plays as well. Semiconductors could be coming back up strongly as well. Okay, Ken? Okay, now let's take a look at what we call the STI. The STI, I mean, since we're looking at the Singapore market today, why not look at the Straits Times Index? So you can see for the S&P 500 index, all right, we actually have been kept below that 7,600 for the past 2 months, all right? And it was just resting, as I say, sideways consolidation, short-term trend sideways, right? I mean, it was strong in April and May, but past 1 month plus 2 months sideways. For the Singapore STI, different story, right? Singapore has been very strong, right? Later maybe we'll cover as to some of the banks as to what has led the very strong recovery. But let's take a look at the STI. In fact, I would say one of the strongest markets, even better than the US, I would say, right? Since last year, look at this, right? The long-term trend, look at the red and blue line, up since last year, May. We have, the government, the MES introducing a couple of measures, right? The revitalization program, right, in terms of the equity market development program to revitalize the entire local stock market. A couple of measures like the value unlock program as well to have research analysts cover more, not just the blue chip, but the small and mid caps. So a lot of funds, up to not 5 billion, $6.5 billion have been earmarked into the Singapore equities market since mid of last year. Funds have been pouring into the Singapore market, the banks, the mid caps. All right, we've seen a very strong recovery. We got a couple of bullish signals coming out. Pump. Last year, October, November, right? Last year, April, June, right? Every time we get a bearish signal, fine, go down by 1 week, 2 week, rest a bit, right? Another bearish signal, go down by 1 week, 2 week, rest a bit. But when a new 1GT bullish signal gets triggered, you can see for yourself. There we go. The reversal happened. We push even higher. Now, let's take a look at what has happened over the past over month. So you can see, guys, we were actually consolidating. I talk about this level in our Friday AM AS sessions the past few weeks as well. We were actually consolidating below the 5,100. It used to be 5,000, then it went on to like 5,100. You can see near it, came down, went up, came back down again. In fact, got a bearish signal, right? But just about 3 weeks back on the 17th of June, all right, which is like today, 10th of July. So I think about 3 weeks back, right? About slightly more than 3 weeks back. Not yesterday, quite long already. We actually got a new 1GT bullish signal coming out. All right. And if you look at the green 20 days moving average line, the short-term trend was like down, up, flat, up. Is it still up? Yeah, still up. So the short-term trend has turned up since like 3 weeks back. We got a 1GT bullish signal popping up. The market has turned more bullish. We have covered a few videos on YouTube. We have shared with our clients in Philip Securities as well, all right, as to some of the stock that is leading the STI higher, right? So it looks strong. We have broken the resistance. Buyers came out and we push it even higher, right? So I'll say STI over the past 3 weeks are stronger than the US. For sure. Why? Because as I say, US, the S&P is like below 7,600. We are like, go up, then come back down, go up, come back down. But STI has broken the key 5,100, 5,000 psychological resistance level. Push above, break above, stay above, rest for 1 week, push even higher. All right. And now we are what? 5, 4, 5, 5. In fact, it is a record high. All right, record high for the STI, right? We have never gone to 5,450, now 56 already, 5,457 as I'm talking, right? So you can see, right? Record high, we push higher, even set 5,300 as gave way as well. Long-term trend is up, short-term trend is up. I think potential resistance, right? Potential resistance could be, right? Maybe near the 5,500 level. Well, that is what we call a psychological level. I mean, you can take a look at what we call a little bit of a projection, right? We used to be consolidating below this 5,000, right? So look at this consolidation phase. We project it upwards right away. You can see, right? Somewhere around there, right? Somewhere around there based on the previous consolidation to that 5,450 to 5,500. So that is where maybe you might see a bit of a profit taking, a bit of rest, which I think is good as well. All right, a bit of rest, a bit of pullback, take some profit if you want near them. All right, and rest a while. If the 5,500 gives way, the next lick of upside can continue. All right, all the way to 5,008, maybe even to 6,000. Right, so I think STI is strong. We're still seeing a lot of strength in the Singapore stocks. You want to make sure you know what stocks to actually focus on in the Singapore market. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, Ken. So we have covered the markets, the S&P 500 index, even the STI. Now let's go to move on, right, to the next segment of today's AMAS live show. And that will be to cover your Singapore stock. So very simple, guys. I'll give you guys the next 1 minute. In fact, I think some of you have already typed in the name of the Singapore stock that you want a quick opinion on, but I've not looked at it yet. Give me some time because I was analyzing the markets, right? So give me some time. Type in the chat the Singapore stocks that you want a quick opinion on, all right? Give us a bit of context. Type the name. Are you looking to buy? I mean, to sell? You're looking to sell. You got in at what price? Is it last year, last week, last month, right? And give us a bit of context. That is where we'll give you a bit more priority, right? Give you a bit more priority. And let me go to pick and choose the very first stock for today, all right? Very first stock for today. Let me just go to see, all right? Okay, so type in the chat, guys. Type in the chat. Okay, so I think I can choose the very first stock for today, and that will be, let's give me a second, give me a second. Okay, let's take a look at this, right? James, I hope you're still over here. That's the very first stock for today. I bought Sembcorp Industry at $5.60 yesterday. I think Sembcorp should be Sembcorp Industry, right? When it is at the critical support. Can share the mid and long-term trend and what resistance level to let go. So you bought at $5.60 yesterday. Very good. Let's take a look at Sembcorp Industry. So thanks for giving us a bit of context. So you bought $5.60. Now what price? I also don't know. Let's check. Sembcorp Industry U96, is it? Let's take a look. Okay. Now is sorry. Went one down a bit there. Now it's 568 there, 567 like that. Okay, Ken. So James, I hope you're still over here. You got in at 560 yesterday. Now it's okay, 568. Not bad, At least making a bit of money, Making a bit of money. Rebounded a little bit, but let's take a look at what is the trend right now. Is it a potential reversal? What do you want to look out for, right? So this is Sembcorp Industry. The code is U96. So obviously for Sembcorp Industry, right? We have been pretty much at this range. Let me just go to draw this very key support level. I can draw it for you, right? Right over here. The $5.50. Look at this. Right over here. We were here in March last year. Saw a very strong reversal all the way from $5.50 to the $7. So $7, you can see, is a resistance level. So I would say that for the Sembcorp Industry, the longer term trend, if you take a look at what we call the 100 days moving average, the red line and the blue line, it is pretty much sideways. Look at this, right? The blue line is sideways. The red line also sideways. Go up a bit, then go down a bit, right? But I would say sideways. The range is very clearly from $5.50 to $7. It's like a $1.50 range, how you can see for yourself, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, then go down again, up a bit, now go down. I don't know whether you go back up again, but that is pretty much the range, $5.50 to $7. So if you are kind of like entering near the support level, near $5.50, $5.60, I think okay, at least, that's where we have rebounded from in March, a couple of months back, right? But just take note, James, because the key here is that $5.50 to $5.60 is a very good support, right? But you can see that over the past few weeks, we actually got a couple of bearish signal popping up, right over here. The first one rebounded a little bit. A new 1GT bearish signal pop up last Friday on the 3rd of July. All right. So by right, it's a little bit weaker. We don't want to rush to get in until we see some stability. All right. So I mentioned that the short-term trend, the long-term trend is sideways, right? As we consolidate from $5.50 to $7. But if you look at the short-term trend, right? We look at the green line, right, James? Quite clearly, the green 20 days moving average line is pointing down, right? A little bit down. So we're not yet out of the woods in terms of the short-term trend, all right? So normally we want to let it stabilize a bit first above that support level. Like for example, when we hit it to this support level from $5.50 to $5.60 in March, right? We were there for about 2 weeks, right? Before the recovery happened, before we saw the first 1GT bullish signal coming out. The second one came out a few days later. There we go. Does it make sense? Right? So I'm not too sure when this bullish signal will come out, whether is it here or here or here, I don't know. But once it comes out, that will usually give us that confirmation of that reversal, right? To get in, right? So I'm not saying that you got in wrongly, lah. I mean, your price is actually quite okay, 550 to 560, right? Actually, that is where potentially some bargain hunting can come back, lah, right? So actually, it's a decent price, But decent price doesn't mean you just go in, right? Normally, decent price plus a reversal confirmation, you get a bullish signal plus maybe the green 20 days moving average line. You know, like don't point down, lah. I mean, you flatten out a bit, lah. You point up, it's another thing, but at least you don't point down. Does it make sense? Something like this, you can see, start to flatten out. A bullish signal appear. Start to point up. There we go, right? The reversal actually happened all the way up, right? To $7 back again, right? So that is what potentially you can look at in terms of the target, right? So you mentioned about mid and long-term trend. So I think long-term trend is sideways. Short-term trend, unfortunately, still down for now. Resistance level, you can potentially let go. Could be anywhere from $6.50 to $7 if it does rebound back up, right? If, you know, as I say, if we do get a bullish signals coming out, rebounds back up, anything near this level, 650 to 7, all right? That's what we call a sell zone. That's where selling pressure have came out over the past 4 to 5 months. You could take some profit over there. All right. So that is if it rebounds to that level, right? But as I say, right now, what we will usually do is that even though the price is okay, but we usually want to wait for some confirmation to get back in again to write the reversal, All right, Ken. So I hope that helps. All right. Now, one thing you want to take note of as well is this, James. So you got in at 560. Now it's 568. Good. You're making some money. Nothing wrong, right? Hopefully, it might stabilize from 550, 560. Rebounds happen. Good. Get out. Take some profit near that 650 to $7. Nice. Okay. What if it doesn't happen? What if the 550 breaks down? I'm not saying it will happen, but if the 550 support that we've been hovering above since like over a year, if it breaks down, then different story. That is where, as I say, not so good. That is where we could have a new bearish signal, red color. I mean, now already got one, but let's say if the $5.50 support breaks down, we will get what we call another bearish signal. Red color one, not good, right? And then you want to have a plan to reduce some exposure, get out, because I think if it goes below 550, I'm not saying it will happen, but if it really goes below 550, not so good, right? The downside can be all the way to $5 to $4.50. You can see that we could really potentially retrace even lower, all the way to $5 to $4.70. That is pretty much the support we have seen in 2024, right? 2024, right? So far so good. We're still above 550. Cool, relax, chill. But have a plan. If it goes below 550, if you get another 1 GT bearish signal, that's where you want to be a bit more careful. Have a plan to reduce some exposure, get out, stop loss. And that's what we do, all right? If we were to get in right over here at this buy zone, all right? So hopefully the bullish signal comes out. We see a good reversal. I hope the key levels that I mentioned helps. Okay, Ken? So that is the very first stock, Sembcorp Industry, U96. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Let me just share my screen for a little bit. All right, there we go. Okay. Let's pick the first stock. Okay, here we go. I think SK was saying, Bervin, don't forget to talk about ST Engineering. Okay, I think you requested ST Engineering. I think I saw someone else was also requesting. Here we go. Melina, hi, good morning. Welcome back. ST Engineering has already run up significantly since last year. Does it have further upside? To have a position but thinking of buying, please advise on key levels. Well, thanks so much for that good context. Okay, no position. Is there more upside, and what are the key levels to watch out for? All right, let me just change that screen for a little bit. It looks like it is quite small. Jia, do you mind helping me to adjust the layout for a bit? Just make the screen a little bit bigger. I think it can be quite hard to see. Okay, wait. Okay, so for ST Engineering, well, Jia helps us with the layout of the screen for a little bit. For ST Engineering, I think right now, Melina and SK, as you can see, since sometime in March, right? Sometime in March, right here, after prices broke above that $10.40, $10.50 level. Previously was a resistance, now turned into a support. Right? We actually see a little bit of sideways movement for ST Engineering all the way up to now. So for March, beginning of March now is July. So for about 4 months, all we have been seeing ST Engineering doing is push down, push up, push down, push. So I think what we can obviously say is ST Engineering has been in a consolidation phase for about 4 months. And it has indeed run up since last year, right? So since the beginning of last year, we just look for the entire period of 2025, right? The run up was quite good, right? This was one of the stocks that we were covering for a little bit more than 100% up to this point already, 150% in fact. Okay, so where could prices be potentially be heading? I think it's completely normal, it's completely good, as in fact, it is what we actually like to see. We do not want to see prices every other month just pushing 20%, 20%. That's not sustainable. All right, so having a prolonged consolidation for maybe 4 months or so, very, very normal for most stocks. Right? Why and what are people actually doing with those stocks? Right? If you don't have a position, should you buy in a position? What happens if you get stuck and your money doesn't grow, or you just been moving sideways for the next couple of months? So I wouldn't be able to tell you. I think Joey won't be able to tell you as well. Jia won't be able to tell you as well what's going to happen, today, tomorrow, next week for ST Engineering. But like you asked for, we can look at the key levels. Right now, I would say that buy zone, right around that $10.40 upwards to maybe about $10.60. Every time prices arrive at this level, right? Look at that. Arrive at this level, we tend to see buyers coming in to defend. All right, to defend. Buyers do not want the prices for ST Engineering to hit below that $10.40, $10.50 support zone. All right, so I think if you are looking for a key level to maybe accumulate a little bit, right? Accumulate a little bit or participate in a little bit of what we call range trading, right? Between the range of 10.40 all the way up to about 11.50. Right? Every time we arrive at this level, we start to see selling pressure pick up once again. Right? So we start to see profit taking come in. That's about a 10% upside. Not too bad, right? It's not too bad. And with the 20 days moving average right now also pointing up, that is a good sign. Will we finally break above the 1050 level? I think hard to say right now, but at least we can see that the longer term moving average are still both pointing up. All right, so if we continue to be in a range bound movement, just take note that maybe you can set up some alerts, maybe close to the 1040 level, just to accumulate nibble on some positions for a little bit. All right, if you want to look to sell, all right, SK, I don't know whether you are currently holding onto any position, but looking to sell, it's actually nothing wrong. Nothing wrong to go and sell close to that 1150 level. Take some profits, lock up some profits, enjoy the profits as well. And next, we can also turn on what we call the trailing support and resistance function. Just take note, this function is only available for the 1GT Pro indicator. It's not available on the light indicator, but what it does is more important. What it does is the trailing support will in fact follow the prices as it moves up. And if prices move sideways, it will tend to move sideways as well. Similar to the trailing resistance. The trailing resistance will move down as prices move down with it, and it will move sideways if prices move sideways. All right, so notice in the last couple of months since May, in early June, we got 1GT bearish, 1GT bullish, 1GT bearish signal. This is a sign that the price action have started to move in a consolidation pattern as well. All right, so you can tend to benefit, or you can still benefit from range bound movements. All right, but also have some alerts. If prices break below that $10.40 level, right? You don't want to be caught in a position. If break up, okay, never mind. If break down, then now you'll be stuck. So you don't want that to happen. So if you're entering a position close to the buy zone, have some alerts below that buy zone just to reduce your exposure or have some stop limit orders, have a trading plan essentially to help you move out of the position if the trade doesn't pan out. All right, so what happens or where is the next upside? Where is the next upside if prices break above that 11.50 level? Right, we have drawn our targets to about $12.50 first, right? And I think definitely without clearing 11.50, no need to say we will not be able to hit towards that $12.50 level. All right, so there's one thing you can do to actually maximize your ROI, I would say. Right, so I think today's AMAS is sponsored by SocGen. Right, it's sponsored by SocGen. So I think ST Engineering is one of the stocks that a lot of people are looking to use DLCs. DLCs, daily leverage certificates. What does it do? Right, it tracks the underlying of the stock, right, with some form of leverage. 5 times you can take on a long or short position for ST Engineering. So in this case, maybe we will just use the short position. All right, let's say, let's just use the long position for the DLC, right? The ST Engineering 5 times long. So what happens is if the prices, or if you get in maybe close to that $10.40 level, right, there is a 10% upside. So approximately the DLC will move 5 times. The 5 times DLC will move 5 times of the price or the price movement. So the prices move up to $11.50. The approximate value of the DLC will move up by about 50%, 5 times of 10%. So if you want to find out a little bit more, especially for stocks that a little bit of a range bound movement, or you want to catch the correct direction, you want to make a play on the direction of the shares, can check out the DLCs available for the stock. All right, so I'll just put a link in the chat right there if you are keen to find out a little bit more about DLCs, right, long or short. You just check out the link and check out whether they have your stock in mind. All right, so hopefully that helps for ST Engineering, Melina, and SK. Just those key levels for you guys to watch out for. All right, so I'll pass the time now to Jia to cover the next requested stock for you guys.
All right, thank you, Bervin. Thank you for covering ST Engineering. Yeah, I believe this counter was one of the counters previously mentioned quite a few times when it had a lot of strength, but recently kind of consolidating sideways. Yeah, so the next counter actually that I'll be covering on will be on this SIA Engineering. Maybe let me just show my screen first. Okay, so I believe some of you guys are asking on SIA Engineering, quite a few actually. I think Ting was asking, bought at 3.45 to hold or sell. So you have already a position in SIA Engineering. What are the key levels that you want to actually look out for if it starts to show some weakness or reversal? I think Colin also bought SIA Engineering 2 weeks back at 3.47, added more at 3.41, suddenly dropped to 3.32. No, please advise. So you also have positions in SIA Engineering as well. I think Andy as well, looking at SIA Engineering at current price, had pulled back a bit. So want to know if it's a good time to enter. So looks like Andy, you don't have any position for SIA Engineering and looking to enter for it. And last person that was asking about SI Engineering. So quite a few of you guys are actually asking about SI Engineering. I believe Lin also asking about SI Engineering, now dropped to 1.33. I believe you're talking about 3.33. Can add some up. How far the price can go up, or now the strength is vanishing. So not sure whether you have positions in this counter already or you looking to enter. Yeah, but not to worry, we'll just cover through how SIA Engineering is for the past 1 month or the past few weeks, and where could be some of the levels that you want to closely monitor for SIA Engineering. So okay, let me just maybe clear off some of the drawings. Okay, so I think for SI Engineering previously, when we look at it just, I think last year, April, it actually went up quite a lot. And if you were to turn on just a quick one on the 1GT buy and sell signal, you can see that last year, April, actually there was a 1GT bullish signal that appeared, and afterwards, prices went up and run quite a bit. So since last year, it actually, after the 1GT bullish signal appeared and run up to the 1GT bearish signal, it was up 60%. So I would say actually 60% for a Singapore counter is actually quite good and quite decent as well. And if you were to now just zoom out a bit, prices actually went up a lot, consolidated slightly above this $3 psychological level. Prices actually broke above last year, June, went up. I think near term wise, there was a resistance near that 340 level. Prices consolidated around this level, $3 to 340, managed to break above, and afterwards you can see that prices went up to that 380 resistance level, tested a few times in last year November, and this year January it tested around at 380, and afterwards we can see that just recently prices broke below this 340 level in March. Actually in January it broke below but managed to stay above afterwards. But in March, 1GT bearish signal appeared. It broke below that 340 levels, and we can see that just recently from March to actually June, prices was kind of consolidating between this 310 to 340 level. So you can see that prices came down to test this 310 in March, went up to 340 again in April end, and also early around mid-May, tested this level quite a few times. So you can see that there's actually quite a well supported level at 310, and resistance was near that 340 where it actually tested quite a few times as well. But just recently when prices actually came close to that 340 and broke above that 340, there was some sign of reversal for this counter. So if you look at it previously, the 20 days moving average was kind of trading a bit of sideways downwards, then afterwards sideways. The 20 days at 100 days moving average actually started to point down. But just recently when prices broke above that 340, we can see that first thing is the 20 days moving average started to point up. The 100 days moving average also start to flatten, while the 200 days moving average still remains to be kind of pointing up or a bit of flat. But I would say 340 previously was a resistance which turned into a new support when it broke above that 340 in 24th June. But what we notice now is prices actually broke below this 340 yesterday, and prices continue to show weakness today as well. So like some of you guys who already have a position in SI engineering, and if you entered previously around that 340, I think some of you guys entered around that 345, I would say this was actually quite a decent buy zone because it was actually a resistance turned into a new support. But obviously when you enter into a counter, you need to also have what we always mention, a stop loss plan in mind, just in case when prices start to show a bit of weakness again, where might be a level that you might want to stop loss. So for example, if we identify that the 340 is actually a new support, if it breaks below that 340, depending on risk appetite, maybe around at 335, or even if you want, you can turn on the trailing support and resistance. So for those using the 1GT, for us, the 1GT Pro indicator also have this feature, which is the trailing support and resistance, where actually prices, the trailing support will actually follow according to the price and their volatility. So you can see that when prices start to move up, the trailing support also moves up along with it. But when it pulls back, the trailing support doesn't pull back as well. So you can see that if we were to turn on the trailing support, it's actually near that $3.30 level. So if prices break below this $3.30 level, we might see that the first thing is the 1GT bearish signal will actually appear, indicating that there's more selling pressure in this SI engineering. And where could be the next support that we're looking at? Like what we have drawn just now, 310 will actually be the next stronger support where prices actually tested this level quite a few times. So for those who are actually having a position in this SI engineering, 340 was a support that was broken just these 2 days. Depending on risk appetite, maybe if prices start to show more weakness and break below that 330 level, first thing is a 1GT bearish signal will appear. Maybe if by then you might want to have a stop loss plan in mind, just in case prices start to show even more weakness and go back to that 310, and that's when your losses might widen another 5 to 6%. But for those who are looking to enter for now, I'll say maybe you want to wait for price to stabilize first, wait for price to maybe go back up to above that 340, hold above that 340 where there's a new buy zone, or if you see that prices start to show more weakness and come back down to that 310, I think by then there might be a 1 GT bearish signal, and you also won't want to actually enter when there's a 1 GT bearish signal, and also the moving averages are not doing very well. So I would say for someone who is looking to enter for SI engineering, best is for prices to recover, stay above this 340 level. That's where that could be a buy zone that you can look to enter. But if you don't have a position, maybe for now you can look at other counters that are much stronger, maybe like the banks. And for those who actually have position in this counter, make sure to have a stop loss plans just in case it breaks. It start to show more weakness and break below that 330, and a 1 GT bearish signal will appear. So for now, 340 is a resistance since prices has broke below this level. The next support that might be a key support level will be at a 310. So hopefully that answers some of your questions on SI engineering and helps to give you some clarity on what to do for SI engineering. And if not, that's for SI engineering. I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Xiaoyi. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, and I think that is a stock whereby a few of you were asking about. Okay, let me just share my screen. And that would be this company here called Keppel, right? Let's see who is asking about Keppel, right? I hope you're still joining us here. Well, we have more than almost 300 of you joining us today. Welcome, right, to the Ask Me Any Stock session. We have covered a few stocks. Let's move on to Keppel, right? Let's see, right? We have Lihan, right? Hi, Joey, Bervin, Jai. Keppel bought average price 9.15. Awesome, 9.15, $9 plus. Now $11 already. Confirm make money already. Very good. Today price surged to 11.40. Correct. Now is 11.41. Can accumulate. Okay, very good. So very good. You have it already. You bought already $9.15. Now went up. You're making some money. But your mindset is that can accumulate. I thought you should be thinking, hey, should take some profit, get out, right? But you're looking, can accumulate. What maybe can go up some more, right? So that's a good one, Lihan. Actually, we kind of like buying into strength. You might have positions, but most people will have the mentality that because they have it went up, then they are thinking about selling, right? Because you have any money now, you buy it's more expensive. Like most people don't want to buy when it's more expensive, right? So very good that you have the right mindset where even though you have, but if there's could still be more upside, you can even think about accumulating, getting in more. All right, not anyhow lah. All right, with a proper process and framework lah. All right, so that is a very good mindset to have, and I want to affirm you from that. All right, now let me see another one as well. Keppel. Let's see, right? Styler. All right, I think hopefully you're still over here, Styler. Keppel, you sold 20% at $13. Wow, very nice. Average, wow, even cheaper, $5.52. Lihan got $9, you got $5 plus, even better. You $5. Wow, $5 is when? That's like last year. Last year, $5.50. Like last year, April, you keep until now. Awesome. Well done. Right? So you got over here, Lihan got $9 somewhere over here, a bit more expensive than you lah. Okay, but both of you all making money. Well done. Okay, you sold some at $13. So I think you sold over here. Wow, not bad. $13 was where we touched in February, and then it start coming down. You sold right at the high. Amazing. All right. Yes, since dropped quite a lot. Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, from like $13 plus, drop until 10, 50, 11, now go up a bit. All right, can buy back now? Let's find out. So both of you are still holding on to it. Lihan, looking to get in more. You did not sell. Styler, you sold some, came down, right? And then now maybe going back up. Should you get back in again? Let's find out, right? So this is Keppel. And Keppel was actually one of the stocks that we have covered since, I would say, last year. Why? I mean, look at the long-term trend for Keppel, right? Long-term trend is up, red above the blue right now. Long-term trend still up. Short-term trend, if you look at the green line, it was like up, flat, up. And then like in March, when the US-Iran war started, it down. And then last month, flat. And then like last week, start to point up a bit lah. So the short-term trend is up, long-term trend up, not too bad. We are indeed seeing some form of a reversal. If I can quickly turn on the bullish and bearish signals from my 1GT Pro indicator, right? Just remove the banner theme, all right? Right over here, you can see that we actually had a couple of 1GT bullish signals since last year for Keppel, right? Look at this, right over here. So I say, as I said, we have this tool called the 1GT Pro indicator, right? Turn it off, pump, nothing. On 2 seconds, boom, appears, right? It gives us an opinion in seconds. So if you have been following me since last year, actually, we have been covering Keppel. Look at this, right? We got some bullish signals. I think Styler, maybe that's where you got alerted as well. 550, we got bullish signals coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, look at this. How many percent? All the way until the bearish signal come out, 103% in like 10 months. And so when we get a bearish signal, not one but two, that's where you can see started to pull back a little bit already, right? So Styler, good that you took some profit, but by right could have taken more because you can see the short-term trend was down, a bearish signal appeared. So by right should be some exposure, get out, wait for the time to come back in again. Now, over the past few weeks, right? One thing good is that finally, right, after going down from March, April, May, right, in June, we finally got a 1GT bullish signal appearing, right? Went up, a bit of a pullback, the market weakened a bit, right? But it seems like today, we are starting to push even higher. Now, you want to write down this very key resistance level. I think this level would really, really give it a lot more upside momentum if we can break this very key resistance level, right? What is that level? This level is none other than the $11.50 psychological resistance. Let me just draw it for you right over here. You can see 1150, guys. We were right over here from February, March, April. When we broke down this support, it went all the way lower. The green line turned down. All right. So 1150 was a very strong support. Feb to April, we were above it. We broke down. Now, this $11.50. You can see when we got the bullish signal, we actually sold. We rebounded all the way up to 1150, pulled back a little bit down, and today we are back up again to near $11.50. In fact, today the high, today high is what? Today high is 11.49. Almost one more cent than 11.50. Right. So 11.50. If you take a look at it right now, I believe there would be a lot of sellers. Going to take a look at the market depth. There will be a lot of sellers. So we have pulled back from that level. It's like 11.41. It went to 11.49 today high and then came back down. Now it's 11.41. So I think it's normal. It's normal to see some selling near 11.50. Why? Because that's a very key psychological resistance level. It was a support, then resistance. All right. And from the market depth, you can see a lot of sellers there as well. So for me, it's very simple. If you're looking to get in, I'm just saying 11.50 is a resistance. That doesn't mean we go 11.50 means you will come all the way down. No, right? It just means that as we head to near 11.50, sellers are coming back, which is, as I say, normal. Right over here, anything 11.48, 47, 45, above, near 11.50, that's where we could see selling, okay? You want to take some profit there? Fine. Nothing wrong, but don't take all. Why? Because I think there could be a potential, right? I've been waiting for this. You can see I've set some alerts, right? 11.53, 54, 52, ting. If we break 11.50, as I say, that is where we would potentially get a new second 1GT bullish signal. Right? Now got one only, right? Previously, look at this. Then we got one, 1, 2. You can see one is like the beginner, it's the beginning of the reversal, right? But when the second one came out, when third one come out, fourth one, even more. Right? So now it's only one. Now it's like last time, last year, it's like April only one. I went up a bit, then rest a bit, right? But when the second one comes out, and that will happen if we break $11.50. I think that is where we could really start to see the move much stronger, all right? All the way to the upside back to the $13. That was where we were in February before we sold down. So that could be what we call a very strong reversal move, very strong reversal move that I'm watching, right? So I think set some alerts. Probably don't want to enter now because you're very near the resistance, right? Because we could go to near 1150 and come back down. That's what we did, last week. That was what we did in April, right? So we try not to get in near a resistance because that's what we call a sell zone. But it's a different story if a new bullish signal appears, if we actually clear that resistance level. That is where it is another phase higher. That is where the reversal will get more momentum. It's no longer going to 1150 and coming back down, but it's breaking the 1150. Sellers give in, buyers regain control, and the reversal can continue even stronger, right? So that is the level I'm watching. So I hope that helps. Can buy back now. Styler, maybe watch it first, all right? Let's see if 1150 can clear. If it can, that's where we'll send out a note to our clients in Philip Securities. And that's where, you guys can potentially ride it as well, all right? In terms of the next phase of the upside. So can buy back now? Maybe not. Let's see if 1150 gives way. I think that's where you could increase your position to ride the reversal back up again, even more, all right? Same thing for Lee Han as well. Where is the comment over here? Can accumulate. Maybe not now. Maybe more patient. Let's see 1150 can clear out to give way to more strength, right, in terms of the reversal, right? And by the way, guys, I mean, this is some of the stocks that we actually covered since last year, say 100% in 10 months, right? We do actually share some of these top Singapore ideas daily by WhatsApp to our clients in Philip Securities for free, all right? How many of you are clients of mine in Philip Securities? Type a C for client, guys. If you're a client of mine in Philip Securities, that means you actually have a trading account under me in Philip Securities. Let me just acknowledge and thank all of you. If you're a client of mine in Philip Securities, let me know, all right? I believe you should be getting our daily ideas by WhatsApp. Let's see how many clients we have joining us here. Isaac, Megan, Styler for sure, right? Andy, Klein, Emily, your client as well. Thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate you guys just supporting us in the trading account as well. All right, thanks, Brandon, Andy, Blue King, Jolene, Vincent. A lot of clients joining us every single Friday. Thanks for the support. Well done. Thank you so much, guys, for just being here as well. Right, really appreciate just supporting us in this live show, and not only that, by having a trading account under me in Philip Security as well. Right, getting our top ideas, supporting us and our business, our broking business as well. Right, very happy, right? Do we need to put you as our reminder? Andrew, the answer is yes, for sure, right? For sure. Okay, so we have a lot of clients over here, but maybe if you are not yet a client of mine in Philip Securities, like Wincrease, Edward, James, Cecilia, and a lot, right? Well, you want to find out how you can become a client of mine in Philip Securities, right? You do not pay anything more. I mean, it's free to open a trading account, right? So why not be a client? I mean, why do you want to even be a client? Well, good question, right? If you are a client of mine in Philip Securities for free at no additional cost, that's where we actually share some of those top Singapore ideas daily by WhatsApp for free. Not just that, you get some private training videos as well, private articles as well, all right? Market updates on a daily basis as a client of mine in Philip Securities. So I believe you need a trading account to buy and sell stock, right? So if you have a trading account somewhere, but you don't get any that's what a lot of clients tell us. Where got service? Nobody call them, nobody WhatsApp them, nobody send any training, no video, nobody call them, nothing, no idea. If that's you, find out how you can become a client of mine in Philip Securities. The link is right in the chat. Team, just paste the link in the chat again, right? Find out how you can become a client of mine in Philip Securities for free. You do not pay anything more. At least get some service from your broker, especially if your broker don't really send or do anything. Cool, all right? Or it's just like a hotline. That's what we hear from many of our clients. They call the hotline, they wait, and then after that, they can't WhatsApp somebody and then get the response fast. That's what we do. That's what we do. And some of our top ideas daily for free. Keppel will be definitely one of them. I will see if the 1150 gives way. If that gives way, we get some bullish price actions coming back as well. Probably we'll send out a note. All right. And let's see where this takes us. Okay, Ken? So, the link's right in chat. Those of you who are not yet a client of mine, Philip Securities, you will get alerted when that happens, or other top Singapore stocks. Check it out. I look forward to see you and work together with you closer with my team, my broking team, all right, on the other side. Okay, so let me pass on the mic now. We have covered Keppel. Let me go ahead to pass on the mic to Bervin, all right, to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's quickly move on to the next stock requested by you guys. Jeff, are you still here? Hi, Joey and team. Possible to cover SIA? Sure. Bought at $7 recently this year. So I believe earlier this year lah. Okay, to sell or to hold. Okay, let me just hide your comment for a little bit. Okay, here we go. Okay, on the screen right now we have SIA. All right, one of the stocks that I think Joey have also sent out recent updates to clients as well. So I think Jeff, if you are a client, maybe I received some of those updates. If you're not, I think the link is still there in the chat. Find out how to be a client. All right. Okay, for SIA right now, I think first thing first, it has woken up or it has shown early signs of reversal. Since when? All right, since the end of May. Right, end of May 20, I believe that is the 21st of May. Right, on the 21st of May, we had the first 1GT bullish signal actually show up. All right, so like Joey just mentioned, the first one, maybe nothing much yet lah. Maybe just showing a little bit of strength in the nearer term. Wow, the second one came up. That's when I think the stock actually truly woken up and pushed very quickly higher. Right, pushing past that $7 psychological level, which I believe you saw the signal and then you got in, right? Above the $7 level, a breakout trade, good, aggressive, paid out. Right now, I think you're sitting on quite a good amount of profits lah. At least up to today, right now, that's a 9% profit over about a month. Pretty decent. I think not too bad. Right, not too bad. In recent high was close to that $8 psychological level. They didn't quite manage to test it. Prices or some selling pressure actually picked up over the last 2 days. Right after the oil prices spiked a little bit over this week. So I think SIA definitely affected, but it's holding up very, very well right now with buyers actually coming in to defend that $7.50 nearer term support, that temporary support that we talk about, right? Rather bullish candlestick, right? Long lower shadow. Buyers at this point, at least 11:39, still quite keen to defend this level lah. This is where also that 20 days moving average, which is pointing up, is also residing around that 750 level. So this is what we call a confluence of factors. And so this level as of now seems to be quite a key level that we want to watch out for, right? We want to watch out for this level in the nearer term. So if you're thinking, hey, whether should you be selling or holding, I think for now you could even consider to accumulate on the dips. All right, so people always think about got to sell when prices are coming to resistance or is heading higher, time to take some profit. But there are some who are also looking to accumulate on the dips if the trend still looks good. So I think SIA in this case could be one of those potential candidates, right? Prices are within that buy zone, maybe 750 to 760. That 100 days, 200 days moving average is still in fact pointing up, right? So you also have that 20 days moving average pointing up right now. You have 2-1 GT bullish signal actually still showing up. Let me just turn on that trailing support at this point. The trailing support still heading up higher with the stocks. Look at that. There is still some breathing space for the stock. Even up to today, where sellers tried to push prices down, we actually see there is still a little bit of space. That trailing support right now, about that $7.40 level. All right, so Jeff, I think maybe if you would like to use that trailing support as a reference to your stop limit order, I think placing the stop limit order maybe about 1 to 3 bits below that trailing support should give you sufficient buffer space for SIA. I think you can continue to ride that trend. In fact, right, if you would like to take some profits, some like the keyword is some, not all. Some profits closer to the $8 level, between $7.90 to $8. But take some profits then, be half or 1/3 of your position. I would say that's completely fine as well. All right, that's completely fine as well. Because so far it still looks pretty good for SIA, and we do a little bit of projection. Bring it up just a little bit. The next upside, if that $8 level gives way, could be another 5 to 6% up towards that $8.50 level. So I think that is another level you want to take note. So what you can do is to actually set up some alerts. Right click, add alert on C6L, which is SIA, above the $8 level, maybe about 805, right? And then another one maybe just below that trailing support, I think, will do you some good. You want to be alerted if the price movement suddenly shifts, right? It shift up, good. Be alerted towards it, start to shift your stop limit order up, continue to ride the trend. If it shifts down, lock up some of those profits or lock up those profits, put it in your pocket, and maybe potentially still can come back for a re-entry if the trend still looks good. All right, Jeff, hopefully that helps for SIA. I don't think you have much to worry about for SIA for now. Just a little bit of profit taking happening today. Monitor over the next few days. Let's see where prices could be potentially heading back to that $8 level. All right, so I'll pass the time now to Jai to actually cover the next requested stock for you guys. Jai.
All right, thank you, Bhavin. So the next requested stock that I'll be covering on will be on actually CSE Global. I think some of you guys are asking on CSE Global. Serena, hopefully you guys are still here. No, I bought CSE Global on at 1.22 on Wednesday. So I think last Wednesday, just a few days back, 1.22. Then what could be a good exit price? So you bought it just recently. And I think Lin was asking about CSE Global bought at 1.74. Should I buy more to leverage down? Okay, so let me go through that later. And also one last person was asking about CSE Global as well. User, not holding any position for CSE Global. Price is actually now near 200 moving average. Is it a good time to go in or wait? So it looks like two of you guys have positions bought at different price, and also user is also bought thinking of entering for CSE Global. So maybe let me just hide this. Okay, so I think for CSE Global, when we look at it, since I think last year May, actually you can see that moving averages has been showing strength, pointing up all the way, sloping up high, sloping up higher and higher. So actually you can see that prices actually move up. 20 days moving average might start to flatten a bit, but it pulls back a bit, but continues to show strength and break resistance and resistance. So I think just this year, we can see that prices were previously kept under this $1 psychological level. It broke above just in January this year. 1GT bullish signal appeared and it started to show more strength and went up all the way to that 1.80, which is about 80% upwards. So, I mean, some of you guys already have a position. Not too sure when. I think Lin, not too sure whether you bought it just in May or was it in end of May. But maybe let us look at what are the key levels that we can look at for CSE Global. So if we were to zoom in just recently, it actually hit the peak of around that 1.8, which is a resistance. Prices came back down to around that 1.5 level tested, went back up to 1.8, but couldn't break above. I think on 4th June, you see that prices actually broke below this 1.5 level. 1GT bearish signal appeared. Afterwards, the next day, it broke another 1.4 support level, which was key support level. You can see that prices tested this 1.4 in Feb and also in April, broke above, and just recently in June, start of June, it broke below this 1.4. And you see that prices came down, kind of recover a bit for just maybe about 3-4 days, but start to show more weakness as well. So the first thing that we want to notice is just having with the 1GT indicator, you can see that clearly we can see just by a quick glance there's two 1GT bearish signal that's in play. So it indicates that overall we can see there's selling pressure in this counter for CSE Global. And on top of that, we can see that the moving averages, first thing is the 20 days moving average. Quite obviously, we can see that it's already pointing downwards since the drop. It actually has been sloping downwards. And if we were to look at the 100 days moving average, you can see that previously it has been sloping upwards since last year, but just recently it's kind of starting to flatten already. You can see that the 100 days moving average is actually starting to flatten. And if prices continues to trade below this 1.4 or even show more weakness and break below the 1.5 support level, you might see that the first thing is the 20 days moving average will continue to slope downwards. 100 days will start to flatten and slope downwards as well. So I would say for CSE Global, previously had a good run, but currently is still showing some short-term weakness, and we might see more long-term weakness coming in. So where might be some of the key levels that we want to closely monitor for this CSE Global? So I think 1.15 might be a support level that you actually want to closely monitor. This level was broken start of the January, around Feb, tested in March, and I think just recently you can see that prices came close to that 1.15, which is also near that 200 days moving average. Like user you mentioned is now near the 200 days moving average. So we can see that prices come close to that 1.15, might be able to, if prices are able to stay above this and is able to be supported, it might show some strength again and go back close to that 1.40 level. So near term wise, 1.15 might be a support level that you want to monitor, and a resistance to be around that 1.40. But of course, if prices break below this 1.15 and another 1 GT bearish signal appear, you might see that the next key support that you want to monitor is that $1 psychological level. So we wouldn't know how the price will move moving forward. Of course, if prices go up, that's the best lah. We want it to show strength. But for I think Lean and also Serena, I believe you guys have some position in these counters already. Some of you guys, I think Lean, maybe when you bought it around that 1.74, I think it's near a resistance. Usually you try to buy nearer to a support area, which is more of a buying zone. So prices already have come down, and what could you do about it if it start to show more weakness? So like I've mentioned, 1.15 might be a key support level that you want to monitor, and the resistance might be near that 1.40. So Serena, if you want to take some profit near the 1.40, nothing wrong with that. But of course, if you start to show more weakness and break below that 1.15, best is to have a stop loss plan in mind. And for user, if you are looking to enter also, wouldn't recommend because it's already starting to show weakness. 1.15 might be a key support level that we want to monitor. And if I turn on that trailing support and resistance, okay, we can see that the trailing resistance now is at that 1.45 level, which is around this level. So if prices are able to break above that 1.4 and start to show more strength, that's when maybe prices we can see some reversal and some strength in this counter, and maybe that's when you can look to re-enter for CSE Global. But I think for now, if you are looking at CSE Global, it's kind of showing weakness. Wouldn't recommend to actually enter for now lah. Yeah. So maybe if you want, you can put in the watch list so that you can monitor when it breaks above that 1.40, and you can also set alert maybe around that 1.42 or even around that 1.45 when the new 1 GT bullish signal might reappear again. So I think that's for CSE Global. Hopefully that helps to give you a clarity on CSE Global. And I'll pass on my time to Joey to cover the next stop.
All right, very good. There's a CSE Global, a little bit of short-term weakness, bearish signals still in play. All right, so probably don't want to hold down or hold all the way even lower. Normally when we see a bearish signal, I think we're going to get out, take some profit after the massive run up, maybe wait to get back in again if we do see a new bullish signal coming in. Okay, Ken? Now, let's go to take a look at the next stock that I think some of you are asking about. I think it's a very popular stock. It's probably a stock that a lot of people has as well. And that will be one of the 3 Singapore banks, DBS. $70.18. Who is asking about it? I mean, a lot of people will be, talking about DBS, pretty much the highest market cap stock in the Singapore market, all right, leading the entire STI index. Let's take a look at some of the questions. Bought DBS during the COVID crash. Wow. And still hanging on to it. COVID, I think like $20 or like, I don't know, that's like 2020. That's like COVID time is like $17, $18. Well done. Still holding on to it. Now it's $70 over already, right? Should I continue holding now at $70 ATH all-time high? Is it dangerous to add more at these levels, or should I look at UOB instead? Well, I would say that DBS is pretty much the leader in the entire financial sector, the banking sector, among the 3 Singapore banks. Is it expensive? Yes, it's expensive, right? But it was expensive when it was $60. It was expensive when it was like $50 last year. People also say expensive lah. So Is it expensive? Expensive, right? But can it go even more? Yes, potentially even more. I think there is still a lot of strength. The uptrend is firmly intact. You look at the red and the blue line. I mean, the long-term trend has been up since don't know when really, last year or what, really, very long already. Right, in case you're still thinking whether the uptrend is up, be up, don't know until when, very long up already, okay? Of course, in the short term, you can go down like for 1 week, 2 week, 1 month. But every time the short-term trend turns up, the green line turns up, there we go, all right? Last year as well, April, we had tariffs, right? Down, down, down. The green line turns up, short-term trend reverses, there we go, right? Very strong alignment in terms of the short-term trend and up and the long-term trend. And you see when that happens, the rally actually happened. Look at this, right? So long-term trend was up since like last year when we broke the like $28 to $30. I think the trend really started to move up. All right. And I think, DBS, as I say, is the leader of the entire Singapore market, the banking sector as well. All right. And it goes up together with like OCBC and UOB. That's where the STI, I think these three banks alone account for more than 50% weightage in the STI. So if the banks start to push up by 1%, 2%, that's where you can see STI will pretty much be up strongly as well. And that's why you can see over the past 2-3 weeks, as I mentioned, STI is a record high. Why? The banks are leading the rally. All right, DBS is definitely one of them as well. Right. So is it dangerous to add? I think not dangerous. Okay, maybe I can share more as to what are some of the support levels you think about getting in to ride even more upside. But we don't want you to have the mentality that, oh, it's very expensive. Oh, $70 very expensive. When it was $60, people also say expensive, right? Last year, $50. Wow, $50, very expensive, better sell. Cannot go up some more. All right, so there's no such thing as too expensive or too cheap or what, right? We ride into strength. We ride even more upside with a plan, all right? Pick some profit along the way if you want, but I think overall it still looks really, really bullish, right? Emmanuel, can access DBS with 1 GT. Very good. Let's turn it on in terms of the signals in a few seconds. You bought at $58. Wow. Okay, a bit more expensive than Joshua, who got it during COVID. $18. Yours $58, but still okay. Doesn't matter. $58 is like maybe last month. All right, May you got in. Not bad. What, within 2 months from 58 becomes $70. Okay, right? Should still hold for August dividend or take some profit? Well, take some profit if you want, maybe near a resistance, but as of today, I think it still looks pretty bullish if you can hold above that $70 or maybe above that $69.50. So let me just zoom in a bit, but I want to wait to turn on the bullish and bearish signals. Let's turn it on, right? Pump. So this is DBS. I mean, you can see for yourself that, since last year, we got some bullish signals coming out. Long-term trend was up. The short-term trend turned up, right? Pump. All right. A bearish signal came out in February when US-Iran war started. And then you can see went down for like 1, 2, 3 weeks. What happens when a new bullish signal appears? The first one, the second one, there we go. All the way up again, right? So every time a new bullish signal appears, plus some other confirmations that we see, it reverses, not just back to the same original high, but it reverses, it breaks the high, it pushes even higher. And that's what we're seeing exactly for DBS and even some of the Singapore banks as well, right? Now, when we got a bearish signal in June, to be exact, 10th of June, that is where you can see we actually went sideways a little bit, rested for 1 week, but about a week later, we got a brand new 1 GT bullish signal popping out again. All right, when we broke that maybe 65 resistance level. You see, right? So 65 was a little bit of a resistance you touched, and then we came down. We were there. Some sellers came back again. But on the 18th of June, we actually went above that $65, right? Went above. We rested above it for like about 2 weeks. Buying pressure came back. The green line, you can see up, flat a little bit, started to point up, and we pushed all the way to where we are right now. So very strong, right, in terms of the bullish signal leading up even higher. Short-term trend up, long-term trend up. I would say right now we could see some support. So psychological level would be the $70. I think that is key. That is a psychological resistance level. Let me just draw this level right here, 70, right? Now it's 70.15. You can see the past 2 days, it seems like we go above 70 and then we come back down, up, down, and maybe even maybe a slight resistance that came out as we move sideways a bit and taking a rest. So we can put 70 maybe all the way higher to $70.50. I mean, it's only 2 days. It's only 2 days. We have seen a very strong rally last week from near 65, 66, all the way to 70, right? And now, the past 2 days, we are seeing a bit of a consolidation, all right? You see, based on this candlestick, if I can draw it for you, I think the range right now, over the past 2 days, so it's only 2 days, we need a bit more days to see kind of like the range. But if I can draw it for you right now, I would say that the range is from $69.50 to $70.50. It is like a $1 range law, or $1, right? Up and down. It went all the way down yesterday to near 69.50. Buyers came back and pushed it up, right? Same thing. Today we went to the high of 70.40, came back down. So it's a $1 range, which I think is good to consolidate. I mean, move sideways a while before maybe breaking 70.50 to push even higher. So for those of you who are looking to accumulate on dips, I think anything near 65.50, 69, the uptrend is pretty much intact. It could be a good grounds to get in on dips, all right? Or if you want, you could also think about getting in what we call above the trailing support. So let me just turn on the very powerful feature called the trailing support. You can see, right? This trailing support is a line that pops up in June, right? And as DBS moved up, you can see this line actually follows it up. It's a trailing support level. It follows a stock as it moves up. It gives it the space to breathe. As long as we are above it, we are fine. Chill. Continue riding. So that is what we call like a safety net below the price, following it as it moves higher. It accounts for the volatility of the stock. So if you are very volatile, we give you more space. All right, you can see there's space between the price or the candlestick and the trailing support, right? So the trailing support is above $67 for now, right? So as long as you stay above 67, to be honest, it still looks okay. We have given it the space to hopefully move even higher. If it breaks 70, 50 or 71 and goes higher, I can tell you this trailing support will follow it up even more, giving it the space to maybe go up even more. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, so we're still above it. So anything on dips near the trailing support could be a good entry, all right? But the thing is that I don't know whether it will dip to near the trailing support because seems like horizontal support have came out near 69.50, all right? People are looking to buy on minor dips, right? So I don't think it might dip that much because it's still strong overall. Okay, so that's for DBS. All right, so I think it looks pretty good. I hope that helps regarding a good entry. All right, I would say it looks bullish. It might be a bit more expensive, but there could still be potentially be more upside. Pretty much the leader in the banking sector in the entire Singapore market. All right, that is leading the STI. So I think some of the reasons would be I think very strong earnings as well as because of the equity market development program as well. A lot of funds is pouring the Singapore market. Singapore, based on this geopolitical uncertainty as well in the Middle East. It's being seen as a safe haven country, all right, safe haven country. And that's where a lot of funds are pouring into Singapore. And then, if it's billions of dollars pouring into Singapore, right? If you want kind of like a good name, right, to think about getting in, a blue chip, what would that be? The banks, right? DBS, OCBC. All right, of course, there are other places as well, but that's where the banks stand out, all right? So it's being seen as what we call a very safe haven kind of play, all right? And I think that's where we are seeing a lot of strength, and not just DBS, but also the other two Singapore banks. Okay. Now, as this show is sponsored by SocGen, right? By SocGen. So let me just touch on on these DLCs very quickly. So let me just go to share with you guys. Let's say if you want to take a position on DBS, I mean, you could just go to buy what we call the DBS stock, right? $70 plus, you can just buy, and then you go to $80, you make some money, right? Nothing complicated. It's the same as what you've been doing, right? But let's assume you want to get in and write what we call the DLC, Daily Leverage Certificate, right? By SocGen, that allows you to compound or give you a better return. So for DLC, basically, it gives you more than, pretty much it gives you 5 times the return based on the underlying stock. Like what Bervin mentioned just now. If DBS were to go up by 2%, right, 2%, that's where the DLC will go up by 5 times 2, which is like 10%, like nothing complicated. So if the underlying go up by 2%, the DLC will go up by 10%, 5 times 2, right, which is 5x of the performance. So how to do it? Now, let me just share a little bit. So you can just go to the website. The link is right in the chat, SocGen website. And there are many products where you could trade DLC, right? So I just want to run through with you very quickly. All right, and just go to the homepage, click over here. You can go to find what stocks allow you to trade DLC in terms of the underlying. So you can see underlying, that would be even Hong Kong stock, even the US indices as well. But let's take a look at DBS. So where is it? Right over here. So Singapore stocks with like CityDev, Genting, DBS, Keppel also over here, right? We talked about Keppel just now, right? If you break 1150, you want to do DLC, go ahead, all right? DBS over here, DBS. So click on DBS, right? So DBS definitely one of the blue chips, allows for DLC trading, search, and you can see these are the DLCs that allow you to, trades on, right, on the DBS underlying stock. So there's a short DLC, which means you want the price to go down and make money, right? So for us, it's long, right? So you choose the long DLC. So the one with the star is most sensitive. You can see right over here. The code is LQSW. So click on it right over here. So this is the code. You go to any trading platform, LQSW, you will be able to find the DLCs traded on the Singapore exchange. Right, just like any other normal Singapore stock, right? So you just go to type the code LQSW, right? That's the DLC's 5x long DLC. So let me just maybe put like 6 months, right? Past 6 months. You can see that. So the price of DLC is $3.51. Right, you can see it's much cheaper than your $70 over dollar so it's much more affordable as well, right? In terms of the price. And more importantly, you can see that when I put my mouse over here, right? So this is a 6 months price for DBS since like maybe 6 months back. When I put my mouse over here, you can see that the box, look at the box inside, right? For DBS, over the past 6 months, it has gone up in terms of the underlying stock by 21. So you look at the box inside, 21.93%, right? Over the past 6 months in terms of the underlying stock, the price of DBS. But if you look at the red color, right? In the box, there's a red color line, right? LQSW is up by 141.38%. 141.38% on DBS DLC, right? So you can see that it is, in fact, it's even more than 5 times, because by right, 21, let's say 20%, 20 times 5, right? By right, it should be 100%. How come it's more than 100%? How come it's 141%, right, in terms of the DLC? Well, because in a very nice trending market, I mean trending stock like DBS, right? Due to the compounding effect, day after day compounding effect, you can get more than 5x the performance, right, on the underlying, right? So it's not even 100%, it's more than 100 over percent, right? So that's how you can actually trade what we call the DLCs, right, on DBS and many other Singapore stocks. Do check it out. The link is right in the chat. Search for the stock, go to the homepage, and that's where you can read up a bit more as well. And in fact, there's some training videos as well that Marcus from SocGen has done for you guys. Go to education, videos, FAQs. There's a DLC hotline as well, right over here, 6226-2828. Any questions on DLC, do reach out to the DLC team. Marcus and his team will assist you on DLC as well. But I just want to share a bit more awareness, all right, on DLC, which you can actually take a position, all right, on the underlying, all right, to maximize your returns, to get more than, I would say, more returns or higher ROI, 5x the returns. Okay, so check it out. There are a lot of stocks that have DLCs, mainly the blue chips, Hong Kong stock. But Hong Kong a bit weak, so maybe not Hong Kong, but Singapore, OCBC, Keppel, SIA, Singtel, UOB, whatever, right? Over here, check it out. The link is right in the chat. Okay, so that would be for DBS. Not too bad. All right, let's see if it holds above 70 to 69.50 over the next few days. If it does, it can be even more bullish. Okay, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's go to the next bonus stock, the next requested stock, sorry. Right here will be by Spinal. Okay, can you look into Olam? I took some profits at $1.27. I want to accumulate back. Great, thanks so much for that context. Okay, so we have Olam on the screen right now. So you sold some at 127. Is it? Should be quite recent when you started at 127 last month or 2 months ago. Should be about there. Right now you're thinking about accumulating back again, and probably what are the levels to actually look out for. I think first thing for Olam, 2-1 GT bullish signal still playing out right now. Not too bad. All right, we have a confirmation of the longer term trend reversing upwards here. All right, so by now I think you want to take note of this. On the 5th of June, on the 5th of June, we have the 100 days moving average crossing above the 200 days moving average, a sign where the longer term trend is starting to shift into an upward phase. Right, so previously it crossed below, right now it crossed above. The 20 days moving average definitely have also crossed above the 100 and 200 days moving average. All right, so right now I would say that immediate support for you to take note of, you may want to write this down as well, at the $1.15 level, 1.15, maybe upwards to about 120. That could be potentially where you could draw your buy zone. All right, where you could draw your buy zone. Maybe you want to actually take note that although yes, we see a little bit of strength today, but we have that 20 days moving average showing signs of weakness after prices were not able to break above that $1.30 level. So I say that take profit at $1.27. Great. I think that is a great take profit level close to the resistance. You probably see that sellers starting to come back in, not able to break above the resistance, take some profits. Good. That's a good plan. I think right now, if you would like to accumulate a little more, I think at a current price level of 124, a little bit of no man's land, right? Between the 1.15 and 1.30, a little bit too close to the resistance. So maybe if you want to accumulate this level, I think hold on for a little bit. Let's see if we are able to see a little bit of price stabilization come in over the next week or so. Right? Maybe not today, but over the next week or so, if we start to see prices push back down, all right, a little bit of sellers already came back in before lunch. If we are able to see prices push back down and consolidate, right, very much like what had happened here. Right, what had happened here between the 15th of May, about 2 weeks or so, was consolidating in that buy zone. I think yes, that could be giving you an opportunity to get back in. But currently at 1.24, if we are met immediately with the resistance, I think the upside not a lot, about 4%, 4 to 5%. You're not going to sell at $1.30 anyway. So maybe the upside is a little bit limited at this point, but the trend looks good, right? The trend definitely looks good with that 100 days moving average crossing above that 200 days moving average. Let's see where is that trailing support. All right, here we go. We have that trailing support right smack at the 1.15 level. Confluence of factors again, that this is a level that you may want to pay special attention to already. All right, 1.15. So you could have a plan where you get in or you accumulate on at a higher level, but if prices were not able or is not able to hold above the 1.15 support level, have a plan. Have a stop loss plan. I'm not too sure what cost price you have for Olam at this point, right? Because you say you sold some, so maybe you still have some more. Oh, all right. Okay, so you actually bought at $1. All right, so even at 1.15, you're still sitting on a very cool 15% profit. So if you would like to have a stop limit order just underneath the 1.15 level, I think that is also potentially a good play. You don't want to turn from profit into losses, right? From green to red for nothing. You'll be probably holding it for quite some time, right? Since April. Don't let it, turn against you, right? So I think so far for Olam, not too bad. If we will do a little bit of projection, let me help you do a little bit of projection right here. I think very simply, project upwards. Nothing very complicated here. I think 1.45. Sorry, I think my screen just hang there. All right. So 1.45. 1.45 would be your next resistance or next higher target. So I have some alerts, right? It's by now above the 1.30 level, maybe 1.32, 1.33. Couple of alerts right there just to get yourself alerted towards the next phase in that uptrend. Because even though we see a little bit of weakness, we may start to see prices turn up a little bit more if momentum kicks in. Okay, so that's a very quick one for Olam Group. Just monitor over the next few days. Passing the time now to Jia to cover the next stock for you guys.
All right, thank you, Bervin. So the next stock that I'll be covering on, it's on this counter, Centurion. So I think two-person was asking about this. I think Emily, hopefully you are still here. I saw your your comments on Centurion. Is there a chance for it to hit 1.7 this round? There's a green bullish candle today, and I've been holding it since January this year. Bought it at 1.53. And I think I was looking at it, me pair. No, Centurion bought at 1.60. So not too sure when you bought it, but no, today seems to be going up. What's your view? So maybe let us just look at Centurion for today, for now. So I think for Centurion, I think previously last year or before even last year, since 2024 has been showing strength. Moving averages has been going up, sloping upwards, very strong. I think just last year, July, it hit the high of about 1.7, consolidated between that 1.55 to 1.70 for close to since July, September, about 2-3 months, but couldn't break above that 1.7, came down below that 1.55 and started to show some weakness. So if we were to just zoom in, just recently wise, you can see that prices actually was kind of consolidating or staying above this 1.3 since January, went above that 1.3, managed to stay above that 1.3 and came close to that 1.55 just recently. So prices was kept under this 1.55 since actually April, so about 3 months already. Prices came close, tested this level quite a few times. I think on May 14, 15, it went above, but couldn't close above, came back down. Sellers pushed the price below 1.55. On 15 May as well, prices came below, pushed below that 1.55. So this level was tested quite a few times. And just today, like what Emily had mentioned, the candlestick for now looks very bullish. It opened around at 1.449 and buyers just pushed the price up close to that 1.55. But of course, 1.55 currently is still a resistance level. We wouldn't know, after lunch. Now it's actually 12 to 1 lunch break for SG market. After market opens for the afternoon session, we don't know how the price will move for this Centurion. Whether sellers will come back in to push back the price down again, or whether buyers will still take in control and push the price above it. But for now, I would say for 1.55, currently we are still seeing a resistance near this level, and maybe near term wise, they might see some support near that 1.40 level. So we can see that 1.40 might be a near-term support, while the resistance might be near that 1.55. And if we were to look at it, currently it's still a 1 GT bearish signal as for now. And if we were to turn on that trailing support and resistance, actually if you notice the trailing resistance is actually also at 1.55. So actually, if prices are able to break above this 1.55 and close above it, the first thing is you might see a 1 GT bullish signal appearing. And if prices are able to stay above this 1.55, that could be a sign that this could be a new support level with the next target towards that 1.70 again, which was last year August. That was the high and you couldn't break above. So for now, I would say we want to closely monitor whether this 1.55 level can be broken. And if it's broken, then we will see a new 1 GT bullish signal that appear. And if you look at the moving averages, the 20 days moving average is already pointing up. 100 days still pointing up. the 200 days actually previously was kind of flattening and starting to point down. But of course, if prices are able to break above this 1.55 or continue to stay above and show more strength, we can see that the 200 days moving average will start to also flatten and point outwards. And by then, when all three moving averages are pointing up and it breaks above this 1.55, that could be a sign that there's actually more buy interest in this counter again, and the next target could be towards that 1.70. But I believe some of you guys, like me pair, bought it at 1.60. Not sure whether you bought it around May or is it in April or was it all the way back in last year, 2025. But for now, we will say 1.55 might be a key resistance level that we want to monitor. Hopefully, it's able to break above and stay above for the next few days to see more upside for this Centurion. So I think for Emily, you mentioned that you bought at 1.53. So currently it's kind of at a break-even price, 1.55. If prices are able to break above this 1.55, then your 1.70 might be the next target for this time round. But of course, 1.55 is something that we want to see first for the price to break above to show more strength. So I think for Centurion, I think looks like today is actually quite bullish. If prices can break above that 1.55, actually I set alert around that 1.57, that could be a counter that you want to put in your watch list and monitor. And the next upside could be towards that 1.70, which is another 8% upwards. So I think that's a quick one on Centurion. Hopefully it clears your doubt on Centurion as well. And if not, I'll pass on my time to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much. Right, let's move on to the next stock. I think some of you are asking about this stock as well. All right, and that would be by Wincrease, right? Wincrease Wong 2219. I hope it's still over here. Okay, now AEM. So let me just go ahead to move back to my screen over here. AEM recently broke a few support down to about $9.30. How do we buy the dip? Buy in small batches as it goes down, or wait until it turns up, right? So should we get in on dips? What would be a potential support to maybe get in on dips? Let's see, right? I think, and maybe what's the resistance level whereby we have been seeing selling as well over the past few weeks, right? So let's find out in a bit. Let's take a look at who is asking about AEM. So quite a lot of you asking about AEM. And by the way, guys, my apologies if you cannot cover all the stocks. In fact, I'm trying to find all the stocks. There's more than 60, 70 over Singapore stock that I need to find to also pull out in the chat, right? But I think there's a lot more of you asking about AEM as well. Ray, right? I bought AEM at $9.98. Should I cut loss or add some more? Cecilia, AEM dropped a lot to under 10. Is it still a buy? Looking to buy? All right, so some drop, some looking to get in again. Okay, a lot of AEM now, basically. I cannot find it. But anyway, let's take a look at AEM right now and see what could be a potential entry near a good buying zone, okay? Or maybe to take some profit as well as it approaches certain levels, right? So Wincrease, very good. Let's go ahead to take a look. When should we think about getting in? Now, I would say for AEM, right? It has been one of the stock whereby we covered since beginning of the year. In fact, the leader in the entire Singapore technology space. All right, we have UMS, we have Franken, we have Add Value Tech, some of the tech stocks that we cover in the Singapore market, and they have been very strong. Excuse me, right? They have been very strong, I would say, since the beginning of the year, right? When the AI rally started, the US stocks all started to push up, Micron, Nvidia, AMD, whatever, all started to push up. The Singapore tech stocks followed from January, February, March even higher, April even higher, May a bit slower, June taking a rest, a bit of a selling, a bit of a pullback as well. But AEM, you can see that when we got two bullish signals since December and January, right? Well, it was moving sideways. We broke like the $2.10, $2 resistance. The rally started, the short-term trend, the green line. That was going up. I mean, it was flat, started to go up, flat, up. And over the past 3 weeks, you can see it is pretty much flattening out. Right? It means that we have been going from a short-term uptrend to a short-term sideways trend, right? A bit of consolidation. We definitely got a resistance coming out. So normally when we see the green line flattening out, going sideways, it means that there is what we call a bit of a resistance, right? It's no longer just going higher and higher or consolidating and going higher easily, but it is where a bit of an obstacle has came back, a bit of a barrier in terms of a price level, in terms of a ceiling has came back. That's where some selling pressure is coming out. So when we see a green line flattening out, well, what we can do is to straight away, and it's quite clear, draw a horizontal resistance level. And for AEM, that will be none other than the $11 psychological resistance level. For the past 2 over months, we have been nearing there, and then sellers come back, and then we go down, and then we go down, and then we go down. Last week also go there and then come back down again. All right, so $11 is a very key psychological resistance level. Doesn't mean if you go there, it means you will, always come back down, but that's what we've been seeing over the past 2 months. So if you want to take some profit near $11, like how near is near? I mean, like near $11 means like $10.90, $10.80 over cent, right? Anything near it, that would be where you could take some profit if you want, because I think that's where selling can come back. However, you can see that there is no 1GT bearish signal coming out over the past, since like 5-6 months, there is no red color bearish signal, right? What's a bearish signal? When we have been going through your stocks, guys, you can see that whenever we get a bearish signal, right? Like for Keppel or what was that one I went through, like DBS, and right, when we get a bearish signal coming out, you see, went down a little bit, right? A bit of selling have came back, right? But for for AEM, over here, there's no bearish signal. So actually, it still looks okay. All right, I can turn on the trailing support level to see what it says. Right, so this trailing support level, you can see, it popped up since January. All right, and when it popped up, it was like about $1.80. All right, and the trailing support followed AEM as it moved up. Can you see? All right, as the price move up, right, it follow one, right, up, then flat, follow, from $1.80, follow until become $9, right? From 180, you follow until $9. Are we still above it? Yeah, we're still above it, right? So as I say, as long as you're above it, it's still okay, it's a bit of a consolidation, a bit of selling, but we have given it the space to come down a bit. As long as still above it, it is fine, right? We have accounted for the volatility. In fact, every time we near it last time, you see, also rebound. We near it, rebound. Right now we are. So I think trailing support is around the $9 or $8.85 right over here. So if we're to near this support level, like what we have seen previously in May, right? We neared it, you can see buyers came back and we push away from the trailing support level. So I think anything near $9, in fact, not even $9, I think $9 to $9.50, right? There you can see first. So in fact, I think few days back, $9 to $9.50, buyers are starting to come back already, right? So of course, $9 will be cheaper, but nobody will know whether you go to $9, right? You might just go to $9.20 and $9.30 and say bye-bye to you and go up already, Make sense? All right. So, but that is the zone. That is the zone whereby I think some good buying pressure can come back, just like what we have seen over the past 2 months. So if it does dip to that level, so those of you who are looking to enter on dips, because there is still no bearish signal, right? So that is a buy zone to think about potentially getting in, especially if we do spot some bullish candlestick right over there. So anything above $8.90, $9, $9.30, $9.40, $9.50. You see, we are, in fact, today a bit rebound from there already, you can see, right? Very fast one, all right? We are pushing away from this buy zone. So that could be a good entry. That could be a good entry to ride it all the way back up to that $11, right? So I think AEM is still okay, pretty much sideways for now, consolidation, taking a breather. If the $11 gives way, we would get what we call another 1GT bullish signal being triggered. And I think that is where it will get out of that sideways 2-3 months consolidation phase. Targets can be revised all the way to that $13, even to $15 as well, right? So that is AEM resting for now. So far, so good. Could be a good opportunity to get in on dips. I would say above that $9 support level, right? So just have a plan. So as I say, normally, right, when we want to get in, we're going to try to get in near the buy zone. But if we do see a bearish red color signal and we go below the trailing support and a bearish signal appears, then it's a different story. That's where you don't want to rush. That's where it looks a bit shaky. After like 6 months, finally you see a red color bearish signal, right? Then you still want to rush and get in, right? Then why do you want to do that, right? It looks a bit shaky already, but as of today, there's no bearish signal. It looks good. I'm looking to see whether when the $11 psychological resistance will give way and maybe even when a new 1GT bullish signal can appear again. So I hope that helps. All right, I hope that helps. For those of you who are asking about AEM, we have like Wincrease as well, asking about AEM. We have Sergey as well, bought AEM 98, right? Who are cut loss. So far, so good. Still holding above the trailing support. So you can still continue riding. Have a plan. All right. If a bearish signal appears, it breaks below the trailing support, then no choice. That is where you might want to reduce a bit of exposure. That's where we could see weakness in the short term. But so far, I think it is just sideways for now. Okay, Ken? So there's AEM. Then you pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Mervin, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so next stock. Okay, so Shivan, hopefully is still here with us. Intend to buy Hoppa Corporation, I believe, at 16.74 as the stock slowly going up. All right, okay, so maybe before I cover Hoppa, just like to cover some of the stocks or recap some of the stocks that actually we have already covered, because I saw some of you guys are requesting the stock that we have already covered. So I don't think it's it's good to actually cover it twice. I don't think that's the case. So but not to worry, after this entire stream ends, you can watch the replay on YouTube as well. But here are the stocks that we actually covered already. All right, kicking today off, Joey actually covered the S&P 500, followed by the Straits Times Index, and then the Sembcorp industry. I covered ST Engineering, I covered SIA Engineering, Joey covered Keppel, followed by Singapore Airlines, CSE Global, DBS, Olam, Centurion, and Joey just covered AEM, and now I'm going to cover Hoppa Corporation. All right, so Shivan, you intend to buy Hoppa, right? So I'm assuming currently do not have a position on Hoppa. You start to see prices slowly going up. All right, so I will in fact actually agree with you. Over the last week, over last Friday to today, prices have been quietly heading upwards, and yesterday we saw quite a good bullish candlesticks, right? That's why you maybe want to look to get in, right? So we could be testing a new higher support right here. All right, support that was previously a resistance, all right, turned into a support, turned into a resistance again, consolidated, came close to it in June, not quite able to break above it, and yesterday we are finally able to break above this $16.50 resistance level, now turned into a support. All right, prices are quite steadily holding above this level this morning before the trading lunch break, and we have that 20 days moving average over the last week also starting to turn up. All right, starting previously was sloping downwards, flatten out a little bit, then sloping up higher. Initial signs of momentum picking up for Hoppa once again. But we have that 100 days moving average, still sloping down slightly. Of course, if I were to say just flatten out a little bit, start to point a little bit higher, that would be a good sign. And yes, then I'll say, we could potentially position ourselves for an entry. But for that to happen, what has the price action got to be? Right, we have to see prices stabilize and normalize above that $16.50 support level first. Consolidate close to that support level. All right, a consolidation closer to that support level will start to see or will start to show in that 100 days moving average as well. All right, then definitely you will also start to see the 20 days moving average start to extend upwards a little bit more. All right, and potentially crossing over the 100 days moving average. All right, so I think we are just 1 day in. We are 1 day in from breaking above that support level. We're still holding above it. I think we could afford to wait for a couple more days to let that trend play out, or let that nearer term momentum play out a little bit more first. All right, so I haven't turned on the bullish and bearish signals just yet. Just turn it on. There we go. We actually see 1 GT bullish signal actually showing up yesterday as we broke above the $16.50 resistance level. All right, so that's a good sign. Good sign of initial up move, initial momentum picking up, initial strength picking up. But I think we can wait for a little bit more confirmation. Doesn't mean that we have a 1 GT bullish signal, you must immediately go and buy. That's not the case. All right, so but if you need to, or Shiva, I'm not sure if you are able to see the 1 GT bullish or bearish signal at this point. But if you do not have the 1 GT signals on your chart, you could potentially want to give the 1 GT light trial. 1 GT light trial, don't have the trailing support, anything like that. But you have the simple version, like the light version, to actually just give you a little bit of quick opinion. You can click the link in the chat to find out a little bit more about the 1GT light trial, and I'll urge you to give it a try. But as of now, I would say that the upside for Hopper could be drawn towards $17.50 first. All right, $17.50. And if we are able to break above the $17.50 level, the next upside could be drawn towards $18.50. Right, so I think we are still early in that up move. We can afford to wait a little bit more, but just take note of the key levels. We want to be able to hold above 1650. Otherwise, I think we could be heading back towards that $15.50 support level that we have tested in July as well. All right. So I think for now, I think Hopper is still definitely a good stock to monitor. Don't remove it from your watch list. All right. You may want to even set up some alerts. Maybe closer towards the 1650 level, 1660, 1658. All right. So if it heads down towards the level, come back in, look at the moving averages again, see what kind of signals or confirmations it can give you before getting in. All right, Shivan, hopefully that helps for Hopper Corporation. I'll pass the time now to Jai to cover the next requested stock. Jai.
All right, thank you, Bhavin, for covering Hopper. It's been a while since I saw this counter. Okay, I think the next counter that we're covering on is on, I think, Siong. Kenneth was asking about Siong, and I believe those who are looking at Singapore market should also hear about Siong quite often as well. I think Siong wise should be quite a quick one. Let's just quickly go through how Siong is. I think since last year we can see that it has been showing strength. Moving averages has always been pointing out for the long term wise. Short term wise, 20 days moving average, sometimes it flattens, show more strength, consolidate, and after that show more strength again. So I think just this year, if you were to look at it, it was actually supported near that 250 level. I think prices stay above this 250 for the past, since last year December till actually this year March. Came back down to this 250 level and was previously kind of kept under that $3 psychological level, I think since last year until this year April. So we can see that actually prices broke above this $3 psychological level, I think, and there was a 1GT bullish signal that appeared that was on 8 April. Prices went above it, came back down to test this $3, couldn't stay above for a few days, but afterwards we see that prices managed to continue to hold above this 3, and it was trading between that 3 to that 320 level. So prices came close to the 320 in April, in May, and in June. And just recently, it broke above that 320 level again, and there was another 1GT bullish signal that appeared. So if you look at it, 1, 2, 3. So far, 3 1GT bullish signal are still in play for this Siong. And I mean, Kenneth, not too sure what was your entry price or whether you got what price you got it at. But overall, if you look at Siong wise, it's still showing a lot of strength. 100 days pointing up, 200 days pointing up, long term is still intact. 20 days moving average is also pointing up, indicating that both the short term and the long term, it's still intact. The strength is still intact. So I mean, for Siong wise, you can see that it's kind of consolidated within that 20 cents range for the past April to June. So for the past 2 months, it actually consolidated between this level. And after it broke above that 320 level, actually we projected it to be around that 340 level. It came close to the 340 on 2nd July. So actually this level could be a level where you have taken some profit if you bought it previously quite at a lower price. This could be a resistance where you can consider to take some profit. We might see that Siong, you won't expect it to move as quickly or as drastically as other counters such as DBS. The movement might be much faster. For Siong wise, the movement is kind of slow but still steady. So if we can see that prices consolidate between the 320 to the 340, and maybe when it starts to break or like on July 12 and 15, when it start to show signs of buyers' interest and prices start to break above that 340, the next upside target could be towards that 360. So maybe you might see some consolidation between this level 320 to 340 before more upside for Siong. But of course, nothing wrong to take some profit near that 340 if you have quite a big position. Take some profit along the way, maybe secure half of it. When you start to show more strength, when 340 breaks, 360 might be a next level that you can consider to take some profit. And I believe for Siong wise, this is also one of the counters that was also in our monthly newsletter. I think we also covered this counter as well. I think last month, this was one of the counters. We talked about where's the support, where's the resistance, and where's our target level as well. So, I mean, for clients under us, I believe you guys will be receiving the newsletter on a monthly basis, covering on 3 Singapore stocks and also 3 US stocks. So, hopefully, this newsletter actually add values to you guys as well. And for some of you guys who are not a client under us, maybe if you are interested to find out more about the daily WhatsApp broadcast and also the monthly newsletter, just feel free to click on the link to join as a client under Joey. So just make sure you click on the link to find out more about it. Yeah, if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. So Jai mentioned something, right? That for this Siong, right, and many other top Singapore stocks, we actually have been covering them, in our daily WhatsApp, right, community group with our clients in Phillip Securities, right? So as I say, if you are still not yet a client of mine in Phillip Securities, right, if you do not have what we call like a trading account under me, right, in Phillip Securities, well, click on the link in the chat. That's where we look forward to share with you some of these top ideas on a daily basis. On the daily basis, you get some of our private trainings as well, to know what stocks to actually focus on, what not to focus on as well. Okay, Ken? And that brings me to the next stock. Let's see, maybe we can just go one more final round, guys. One more final round before we move on to the 3 bonus Singapore stocks. And by the way, guys, some of the Singapore stocks that you guys were asking about, I realized it is actually the bonus stock that we want to share at the end. All right, the bonus stock that we want to share at the end. So if we purposely never cover your stock, then maybe your one might be the bonus because we are covering later, so no point cover 2 times, right? So maybe it's your stock, So we purposely skip because we will be covering it at the end anyway, Okay, so make sure you stay all the way to the end. If you want to know what are the 3 bonus stocks that we like, you can put in your watch list for potentially more upside. Now, let me just go ahead to move on to the next requested Singapore stock, and that would be let's see, Andy Tan. HLA. I believe that will be Hong Leong Asia. The code is H22. Okay, HLA seems to hit the bottom from 380. Yeah, I think it went to like about 380. It went down from 380. Now it's about $2.73 up. Okay, making a turn up. Is it time to pick up now at $2.76? Now it's $2.73. Is it time to get in right now? So thank you so much for giving us a bit of context. You have noticed it correctly. It has dropped, tank from near 380 all the way to around $2.70 plus. But it's cheap. Of course, cheaper than last month, when it was like above 380, 370. Okay. But is it time to get back in because it's cheap? Let's find out. All right. Or maybe it's not time now, but it could be time next week or next week or next month. All right. When we do see something. What do we want to see? Then we can think about getting in. Right. So that's what we want to find out as well. It doesn't mean, it's back to the support means we are sure we get in, right? Back to the support is just one confirmation. But you're back to support plus you see 2, 3 other things. Then different story. That is where we can potentially get ready to ride the reversal back up. Is that what we're saying? Let's find out. So if you ask me right now, very quickly, let's turn on the bullish and bearish signals. As I say, guys, we do have a light version. Right now, me and my team, we are using the One Good Trend Pro indicator. All right. What's the difference between the Pro and the light? All right. So we have a light version, free trial, right? 14 days free trial. The link is right in the chat. What is the difference between the Pro that we are using right now and the light version? Well, the light version is a simpler version. It allows you to turn on the very first box, the bullish and bearish signals in a matter of seconds, and you can see for yourself any stocks, any asset classes based on the signals, right? You off it, it disappears. You on it, it appears, right? Same like me, you turn it on, you can see what I see, same lah. All right, that's the light version. The light version does not have the advanced stuff like the horizontal, the trailing, and some of the more advanced stuff or advanced other confirmations that we have, right? But it can turn on the bullish and bearish signals, and of course the 3 moving averages, the green, the red, and the blue line, that give us an idea of the trend direction in the longer term and the short term. You can turn that on in the light version. Pretty much these 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can turn it on in the light version. The link is right in the chat. Check it out. That's what you could do. All right. So we do have a trial for the one good trend, a light indicator. All right. Even though we are using the pro, but we do have a free trial for the light. Click on the link in the chat. Check it out. And I hope it helps you as well. If you see a bearish signal, then you maybe don't buy first lah. Wait first lah. Be a bit more patient, right? Like for example, all right, you see a bearish signal. Can you go and buy lah, then all the way down. You see a bearish signal, you go and buy, and then good luck to you lah, all the way down, right? When you see a bullish one, pam, go ahead lah. Go ahead. I mean, not just anyhow go ahead, but we see bullish signals plus other things that we look out for. You can see for yourself lah. Here, pam, wow, one more, pam, All right. Does it make sense, Bob? Right. So that's how you can use these bullish and bearish signals. You can turn it on and off in 2 seconds to guide you. All right. One good trend light indicator trial, as the link is right in the chat. Now, let's take a look at Hong Leong Asia right now, right? So Andy, you're looking to get in, all right? And you can see that over the past 3 weeks or maybe 2 months, we got not one, but we got 2 1 GT bearish signal popping out, all right? So you're asking me whether is it time to get in right now? Is it time to pick up now at 276? I would say that it's not really the time yet, all right? But it could be the time soon. Soon, what am I looking for so that I know it's the time? Very simple. Step by step, you can see quite clearly that we have approached this very good support level around that $2.60. All right. I mean, why is it 260? You can see that 260 was where we were right over here. January, went all the way up. We came back down in March. Same thing, rebounded. I don't know when you rebound, but it seems like 260 is every time when you go there, you always rebound. Correct? So 260 to 270 is a pretty good support level. Right? So does it mean it's a good support level? We have rebounded like 2-3 times. When we hit them, means now we just anyhow go in and buy? Not really, right? Not really. Why? Because we want to wait for some confirmations, even though that is the support level, right? So what we can do is very simple. You can see that now, even though we are near the 260, right, or 270, now it's $2.73. You can see that the green 20 days moving average line, right, that represents the short-term trend. It has been down since early of June, right? Down. Is it still down? Yeah, still down. Don't you block yourself. Down means down, up means up, right? So I would say the short-term trend, unfortunately, it is still down right now, right? So what we can do is very simple. You can see previously, right? You wait until it flattens out. And once it flattens out, it means that at least some good support have came out, all right? Like, for example, now it's down. Let's say after 1 week, 2 weeks, the green line that's down now starts to like that, right, flatten out, right? Whether up or not is another thing, but at least don't go down. Does it make sense, Bob? That is where at least this support at 260 to 270 have came out. That's where you could potentially think about entering on dips, all right, to ride the potential reversal, maybe all the way back to that 360. But what we'll look for is that even though the green line flattens out, if we do see some signs of a reversal, right, in terms of the green line, not just down, but starting to point up. And yes, this thing right over here, the 1 GT bullish signal, the first one that comes out. Right over here, you can see, right? Every time we get the first one, pump, that comes out. What happens? The rally started. All right, so that's what we look for as well. We get a bullish signal, the short-term trend turns up, plus some other confirmations. We could potentially see a much firmer confirmation of the reversal all the way back up to 360 to 380. All right, so that will be what I'm looking for. All right, I think it's a pretty good potential reversal play. Put in your watch list, but now it's just waiting for the stock to play its cards, to show its hand before we take action. All right, so one thing about the stock market, guys, or the one good trend strategy, is not about guessing or predicting when it will happen, but it's to let it show, let the signal comes out, wait for it, be patient. It comes out, you see it, you get ready, pump. enter, right? You may enter, you enter with conviction, you enter with confidence, right? Not feeling or thinking and kind of thing. No. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, Ken. So that is Hong Leong Asia. I hope that helps, Andy. All right. So, yep, put in your watch list. Hopefully, next few weeks, stabilize, looks good. A new bullish signal appears. That could guide and lead the reversal back up. Okay, Ken. So let me pass on the mic. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so very quickly, let's go through the next stock. I think we have to cover this. Joey covered DBS just now, so let me just cover OCBC. Joel was asking about OCBC. Is it still safe to buy some OCBC at the current price as prices rose lately? I think quite a few of you guys are looking at OCBC as well, but I think too many. I think here we go. Lam is asking, please analyze OCBC, possibility of more upside, looking to enter, possible entry levels. Felicia is also asking about OCBC. So I think we have to cover OCBC lah. Okay, here we go. OCBC, definitely. You see, among all three banks, as in alongside all three banks, I think OCBC is also rising. All three banks have been showing strength over the last week, last 2 weeks. In fact, we started to see them pick up a little bit more, pushing past some of those key levels, like what Joey have said for DBS above $70. I think for OCBC, we have finally pushed past the $27 level. All right, the $27 level. Let me just put it up there. Sorry, I think the screen is not showing properly again. Okay, here we go. OCBC has finally pushed past that $27 level. All right, with that 100 days, 200 days moving average, I think it has been pointing up for very long ago, right? The uptrend has been stable since very long ago, since August of 2025. Nothing much to see there. We had two 1GT bullish signal that have started to push higher. Right, shown up, push higher, push past that $23 level, right? Pushing past that $25 level in a matter of 1 month. All right, in a matter of 1 month, we have started to push higher. We were not seeing any consolidation at all after prices push past the $25. So I think that is why some of you feel that, hey, is it safe to buy or not? All right, so I think that's beside the fact that, we have also just pushed past that $27 level. So if we were to draw a little bit like a buy zone, right, maybe from $27, maybe to about $27.30, I would say that is perhaps the buy zone that you could be potentially looking for. So what are some confirmations that you want to give yourself that additional safety? All right, additional safety would be some consolidation, like I mentioned, between 27 to maybe about $27.30. Right now, that is a key level that you want to watch out for. As there's no consolidation, then the support isn't really as firm, right? We're not really as firm as you would like it to be. You may not get as much confidence or conviction like what Joey have said. And that 20, but however, the 20-day moving average is still pointing up. So there's no weakness in the nearer term, as you can see for sure. And we have that upside. Firstly, let me do a projection first. So very simply, 25 to 27, 27 to $29. All right, perhaps even that $30 psychological support could be the next target for OCBC as of now. Is it going to be heading there next week, next month, or even in the next half of the year? I don't know. I mean, nobody would know as well. But what we can do is to look for signs that that bullishness, that strength can be sustained. What we like to see, of course, is a little bit of consolidation, maybe perhaps between the $27 to that $30 level first, before pushing higher to that $30 level. All right, so no new 1GT bullish signal just yet. The recent one shown up in May. So one alert that you can also set up, not just a typical price alert, would be a 1GT alert. All right, 1GT buy or sell alert. You can do this on the trading view chart as well. Just leave it as a buy or sell alert, trigger once per bar, and just create. So if there's any new bullish or bearish signal, because there are some of you who are looking to buy into OCBC, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you are still holding on to OCBC as well, and you may want to potentially lock in some profits if there is some signs of nearer term weakness. right? Near term weakness, get out, reposition for an entry. I think right now, if we turn on that trailing support line, it is right around that $26 level. So if prices continue to consolidate, you may start to see this trailing support move a little bit sideways as well. And potentially, if we break below that trailing support level, no signs of that as of now, but if we break below, market weakness comes in, you could use the 1GT bullish, the 1GT bearish signal to potentially move out of position for a little bit, reposition yourself for entry when that strength comes back. All right, so I think for Felicia, it's a good time. I would say if over the next couple of days we start to see consolidation for OCBC, a strong support forming, definitely I would think there could be a window for opportunity to enter some for OCBC to accumulate at a higher price. All right, so I think that is for OCBC. I'll pass the time now to Jai to cover the next stock for you guys. Jai.
Okay, thank you, Bhavin. So now I was just looking through what counter to cover, and since Joey covered our DBS, you cover our OCBC, let me just cover the last bank then. So I think some of you guys are also asking about UOB. Let me just look through. I think Eugenia asking about UOB. Very high now. Is it a good time to buy in? What is the support level? And I think someone else, ABC also, I think was asking about accumulating UOB. So it seems like you already have some position in UOB. What could be a entry zone? So let me just share my screen. Okay, I think so UOB wise, I think as compared to the other two banks previously, it had quite a good run, but UOB was kind of slower than the other two counters. I think if you look at it, compare it for UOB and compare UOB to OCBC and DBS, I think previously when in Feb and March, I think the counters had some run. UOB actually a bit of pullback lah. So it was previously kept under this, I think I would say 39 39 resistance level. I think back in January, Feb, it tested this 39 level quite a few times, couldn't stay above it, couldn't break above it, came back down to test at 35, was consolidating between at 35 to 37. A bit of weakness back then, but when it broke above this 37 with a 1GT bullish signal, you can see that at this point of time, all three moving averages was already pointing upwards, indicating that actually there's strength in this counter and a 1GT bullish signal appear to show a confirmation. So when prices start to break above this 37, you can see that it went close to that $39 again to test that resistance level. Couldn't break above in June, and just recently in mid of June, it managed to break above this $39 and started to show more strength. Afterwards, went close to that $40. You can see that there was some resistance near this level for just about 2 weeks. And in start of July, it broke above. Actually, that could be a new entry level at the 40 level support level at that point of time. But prices actually went up quite a lot these few days. So I'll say near term wise, if you look at UOB, I agree that it actually ran up quite a lot, but it's still showing a lot of strength. No, near term, like what Bhavya mentioned, no, we haven't seen much consolidation for these banks. They have ran up quite a bit, but we might see some support for UOB around that, maybe around at $43.50. I would say there might be some support near this level where prices actually broke above it. Yesterday went above it, I think for today it came to test the 43.50 a bit as well. And near term we might see a resistance near that, I would say $45 psychological level. So for now, maybe you might want to see some consolidation or some stability in the banks before entering. So I would say near term 43.5 might be a support level that we want to see whether it's able to consolidate between this level, and if prices are able to stay above this 43.50, that could be an indication that this might be a new support level. And if we were to look at the trailing support, it's actually near that 42 level. That could be an indication that could be another buy zone if prices were to pull back to this level. So I would say for now, we want to see a bit of a consolidation, some stability in the banks. If you are looking to enter, the strength is still there, but maybe I wouldn't recommend you to enter now. wait for some stability before entering. And for ABC as well, if you're looking to accumulate, I believe you bought it. If you bought it previously, you should be in a profit as well. Nothing wrong to take some profit near that maybe 45 resistance if we see some selling pressure coming in around at 45, or if prices start to show some stability and you want to enter or accumulate more, you can wait for a support level maybe around at 43.5. That's where you can consider to enter or accumulate more for your UOB. So I think that's a quick one for UOB. And if not, I'll pass all my time back to Joey to maybe cover the bonus stocks.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Chai. So that's UOB. So we have covered like the 3 banks, right? I did like DBS, Bervin covered like OCBC, and finally Chai covered UOB. Right? Pretty much the 3 banking stocks that a lot of people are very interested in, right? Pushing higher, record highs, pushing the STI index higher as well, right? So do watch out. I think, even though they've gone higher, that could really still be a bit more potential. All right. Nothing wrong to take some profit along the way near some resistance level. Right, but you can use what we call the signals, the tools that we have to guide you as well. Okay, so we do, as I say, we have a light trial version. The link is right in the chat already. Okay, now let's move on. Let's move on right now to the segment whereby I'm going to share with you guys pretty much the first bonus stock for today. The first bonus stock for today. In fact, I think some of you were actually already asking about this first Singapore bonus stock. I'll share with you. All right, now what is the name of this bonus stock? Okay, in fact, Edward, you're asking about it. Please advise whether any further upside for Bolstate and Geo Energy. Invested intend to add more on positive signals. So which will be this? Which will be the bonus stock? Is it Bolstate or Geo Energy? Well, it will be Geo Energy. I think Cecilia, Geo Energy has broken the 55 cents resistance. Why the 1GT has still not appeared to enter? Must we wait for 1GT indicator before getting in? I think it's already appeared. All right, let's take a look later. But Geo Energy is the one. ND, Geo Energy can accumulate my average price 0.51. Is there anyone bullish signal I have holding power? Very good. Now it's 0.56, went up a little bit. Chin Jing Long, thanks Joey, recommended RE4 Geo Energy at the bootcamp. In fact, yeah, we had a bootcamp over the past weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I actually shared on this stock called Geo Energy. In fact, on Monday, just like today is Friday, on like just 4 days back, on Monday, we actually sent out a note on Geo Energy to our clients in Philip Securities as well, right? When it was like 5.1, 5.2, right? It was 5.2, 5.1 level. Of course, now it's gone up a little bit to 5.6. Those of you who are clients, check your WhatsApp. It's there, all right? Those of you who are not yet a client, as I say, you want to get some of those ideas much faster by WhatsApp, like Geo Energy plus some other top Singapore stocks. The link is right in the chat. Find out how you can become a client of mine, having a free trading account under me in Philip Securities for free. You do not pay anything more. As I say, if you're not getting any service from your own broker, you don't even know who he or she is, like a hotline or something, click on the link in the chat, right? Get some of those ideas much faster. Daily, WhatsApp, free. Okay, Ken? So the link is right in the chat. Okay, now let me go ahead to talk about Geo Energy. In fact, one of the stocks that we like, it came back to my watch list, in fact, last week. All right, let's go ahead to take a look at it right now. So you can see for the One Good Trend Pro indicator, I can simply turn on the bullish and bearish signals. Pump. There we go, right? So for Geo Energy, I mean, I'll not go too far, but since like last year, I mean, the long-term trend was up. We got bullish signals coming out. 1, 2, right? Maybe get a bearish signal, get out, take some profit. All right, wait for a time to come back in again. All right, 1, 2, 3. There we go, right? From January, February, March, the rally started from 40 cents all the way to above 60 cents. Now, over the past 1 over month, since May, if you ask me, I would say not so good, right? If we had a bearish signal popping out, the green line also turned down. If you buy, then you cannot start. All right, so we don't want to rush to buy it, right? When do we want to get in? Well, when we see the bullish signals coming out, then these are all the things that we see, right? Pump, all right? You can see for yourself, every time we see them, what happened? Does it make sense? All right, but doesn't mean you see means you also anyhow go in. But when you see, plus you see 2 or 3 other things, right? Then different story. So over the past few days, in fact, over the past few days, on last Friday, we actually got the first 1GT bullish signal coming out. So over the weekend, I had a bootcamp. I mentioned to my graduates to put it in your watch list, starting to look like a reversal. All right, this bearish signal that we had previously in May. All right, it's sold down. We have sold down to a certain level. Buying pressure have came out. Support have came out. And we finally got a 1 GT a bullish green signal. Great, right? Long-term trend, no problem. It's been up since last year. The short-term trend, the green line, it was like down, 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 down. But over the past few days, not starting like, in fact, already point up already lah. Since last week, a bit pointing up already, right? Now, still pointing up. So the reversal has started, ongoing. All right, now it's 0.56, so looks pretty okay. What could be what we call a near-term target? So I would say that target-wise could be all the way towards this psychological 60 cents resistance level. So 60 cents was where we were. You can see in like April to May, we were supported above it, right? And after pump, we went below 60 cents. Then a bearish signal appeared. So 60 cents would be what we call a support turn resistance. Potentially, if we hit to near 60 cents or anything near 60 cents, like 59, 58, I think that's where some selling can potentially come back again. So you want to take some profit near there, go ahead, nothing wrong. After 60 cents, if that gives way, what would be the next upside target? Well, 65 cents. Look at it. That was where we were, right? In April, we touched a couple of times. In fact, got a bearish candle, push it back down again, right? So 60 cents and then 65 cents. That could be what we call the upside near-term target for Geo Energy, right? So it looks pretty good. We got a bullish signal still playing out. Yes, I mean, as I said, we have covered it. We shared with our clients in Phillips Securities on Monday when we were right around here, all right, 51, 52, right? Of course, it's gone up a bit, but doesn't mean there could not be more upside. In fact, I think it still looks pretty okay. Over the past 2 days, we are attempting to push even higher. Okay, Ken? So this is Geo Energy. Put in your watch list. As I say, yeah, it might have gone up a little bit, right, compared to when we shared it on Monday with our clients. So if you want to get it a bit faster, find out how you can become a client of ours in Phillips Securities to get these ideas much faster than the time we take to cover it. By then, might be a bit more expensive. Ken, all right, the link is right in the chat. I look forward to send you some of those top ideas by WhatsApp on a daily basis, right, for free. Okay, you do not pay anything more. Same as whatever you pay when you're trading. No difference, right? But at least you get some service, some personalized service. Ken, okay, Ken, so that is pretty much the first bonus stock, Geo Energy. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover his top bonus stock for today. Bervin, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so I think my bonus stock is actually something that we have covered multiple times before, and I have covered multiple times before. It will be Singapore Exchange, right? SGX, one of the, I would say, stable blue chip stocks that have benefited over the last year or so. Right, over the last 6 months, I think we can also see. Let's just do a little bit of a recap. Okay, so since the beginning of March, all right, that 1 GT bullish signal up to now, we have seen a very, very modest, I would say modest returns of about 32%, about 30% for SGX so far for the last couple of months. All right, we have officially entered the next phase of consolidation for SGX. That's a good sign because as you can see, SGX price movements have always been pretty much in a consolidation phase. It consolidates, move higher, consolidates, move higher, and right now we are once again consolidating. So over the last few days, we have some mentees, some clients also asking us about SGX. Hey, is it time to buy in? I've bought in, but not really moving much. Does it mean it's not a good stock? No, I think it is in fact one of the more stable stocks in our own personal portfolios as well. It has been moving in a very predictable manner in a sense where we are seeing buyers once again coming in close to that $23.50 level upwards to about that $24 level. That is where that buy zone is currently at as well. That 20 days moving average continues to inch up day after day, right? Very steadily holding above the 100 days, 200 days moving average. SGX definitely one of the benefactors from the entire equity development program, right? Right now, we are still under that key $25 resistance. Psychological level around numbers 20, 25, 30. These are round numbers that the human behavior wants, or we tend to see volume build up at that level, buy and sell volume tend to build up at that volume as at that levels as a key level. It's part of human behavior. Right? So if we are able to see SGX finally break out, finally break out from this range, $1.50 range that has been kept under for about a month already. What is the next level to actually look out for? So I think by doing a very simple projection right here, we know that the next resistance level could be very, very close to that $26.50 level. All right, but in the nearer term, if you would like, to accumulate, I don't know if prices will head back down to $23 for $23.50 for you to buy, but at least have some alerts being set up at that $23.50 level, upwards towards that $24 level, somewhere in between would be good. Just get yourself alerted, right, to the next opportunity for you to get in. All right, and if we were able to break above the $25, also set up some alerts right there. Get yourself alerted towards the next move in that uptrend. All right, so I think there are some people who are asking in the near term can do a little bit of range trading also or not for SGX. Yes, definitely. But what is the range? As I mentioned, between the $23 to that $25, pretty good range, right? About 6% upwards to maybe about 7% like that, depending on where you buy and where you sell it lah. Right. So how do you take advantage of this? As this episode is this stream is sponsored by SocGen, one option that you could actually take a look at will be using DLCs. Right, to be using DLCs right here. I think you can see on my screen right now, this is the page to actually take a look at if you are looking. Okay, so by right default, if you enter into SocGen's website, DLC website, you will land on this page. Very simply search for SGX. All right, there is three options. Right, select the one that you want first. You want long or short. So if you are going for a long position, definitely that's the first one right there. That star one is the one you want to go for. It's the most sensitive to the price movement. That means it's the one most reflective of the price movement. All right, so click in, where you can see that the price of the DLC is $3.94. Is the market trading already? All right, the market is trading already, so it's $3.94. It is a very small percentage, or it's a fraction of what you have to pay for owning the SGX shares. SGX shares you have to buy $24.20. All right, but for the DLC, if you want to take a position, you need $3.94, a fraction. So there's sometimes a benefit to people who trade DLCs. But what is the key factor here? All right, so for DLC in this case will be a 5x long SGX DLC, meaning to say if SGX moves up 1%, or just now we go for our range, about 6% move. Very simply, 5 times the returns. So if SGX moves up 6%, the DLC will move up by approximately 30%. Right, very, very good returns, especially if you're doing a little bit of range trading. Can it be held for a longer period as well? It can be done, but do take note that there are, of course, it being a leverage product, there are some risks towards that as well. So if we were to just take note, or let's just do a comparison, since just now I say from March up to today, approximately about 6 months or so. The 6-month return for the DLC, for SGX DLC, is approximately about 300%. About 300%, more than 5 times due to the compounding effect. All right, more than 5 times due to the compounding effect. All right, for SGX, it has moved up about 30%, about 38%, times 5, 200%. Include the compounding effect right here, we are seeing close to 300%. All right, so but of course, vice versa, if the share price drops by 5%, 5 times 25%. So of course, just be clear that your gains will be amplified, but your losses would also similarly be amplified due to its leverage factor. All right, so if you're keen to find out a little bit more about DLCs, how it can help you to take a direction in the market, I think the link is in the chat. You can find out a little bit more, and you have any questions on the outsetting markers has been very, very helpful. Some of our clients have called him as well. The hotline is right there, 656-226-2828. Very simple. Just give that number a call, right? But of course, if the market is a little bit hot, to give them some time to answer your call, right? Okay, so that is my bonus stock for today. SGX, I think, is still on our team's watch list. I think if it's still not in yours, I think it's time to add it into your watch list. Okay, so now I'll pass the time to Jia to cover the next bonus stock for you guys. Jia, please.
All right, thank you, Bervin, for covering SGX, your bonus stocks, and also on the DLC. So my bonus stock is actually on this counter, UOBKN. I think some of you guys were asking about UOBKN as well. I think Leong Eddie, new to 1GT, entered U10, which is UOBKN this morning based on the sickness. Can advise on buying in trench. And also, I think Felicia also asking about UOBKN, or what's the thoughts, which is why we actually never cover about UOBKN. So let's just, let's just cover about UOBKN. I think this counter has been showing strength as well since actually a while back. Moving averages has been always pointing out in terms of the long-term wise, and sometimes the 20 days moving average kind of consolidate sideways, but when it breaks above a certain key level, it starts to show more upside. It moves on and afterwards consolidate and continue to show strength. So I think if you were to look at it, I think just last year it was kept under this $2.60 resistance. Previously in September and I think January, it couldn't break above this $2.60. And just in January, start of the year, it broke above this 260, went up, I think close to that $3.40 level, couldn't break above, come back down, consolidate a bit, be around at $3, start to show more strength. And just recently, if you were to look at it, previously there was a 1GT bearish signal, showing there's some selling pressure, but prices were able to stay above this 360 level. So currently, I would say it's trading a bit between that 360 to that $4.40 level, which was the previous high back in May. Prices came to test this level in May, and just these few days, prices came close to that 440 level again. And previously, you can see that now it couldn't come close to that 440, but today it's actually testing this 440 level. So we might want to see whether prices are able to break above this 440 to have more upside. And not only that, if you were to look at it, the moving averages are all pointing upwards already. Yeah, let me just turn off this buy signal first. You can see that 20 days moving average already pointing upwards. 100 days moving average also pointing upwards, and 200 days all pointing upwards. Currently, 440 is actually a resistance that we want to see whether it's able to break above. And if you were to turn on that buy and sell signal, you can see that it's not only one but two 1GT bullish signal that actually appeared. So if prices are able to break above this 440, we might see that there might be more upside towards that maybe psychological level, $5 resistance level. But of course, currently prices are still kept under this 440 level. We wouldn't know how it will move. But if prices are able to break above it, this could be a new support level, and that's when you can look to enter for this UOBKN. So I would say prices are usually for UOBKN quite slow and stable. Prices usually consolidate, break above, consolidate, and break above. So as long as prices are able to break above this 440 and stay above it, we might see some consolidation or some price movement towards that $5 before more upsides for this UOBKN. So I think this is a counter that you can add into your watch list as well if you are looking to enter for UOBKN. And I think that's for my bonus stock. So I think Joey covered Joe Energy, Bervin covered SGX, and my bonus stock is on UOBKN. Yep. So if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to end off this AMS.
All right, there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. We have gone on for almost 3 hours, almost 3 hours. It's almost like 1:30. We started at like 10:30, right? So thank you so much for those of you who have joined us. We hope that you have got some value. We have covered a total of like more than, I would say, 15 stocks. By the way, guys, type a V for value, guys, if you got some value, especially if we have covered your stocks. All right, let me know if you got value, you got some clarity in terms of the trend, in terms of the levels that you might want to get out, maybe to get in again. V for value, guys. You got value. I want to make sure all of you got value. You learned something, you took away something. I want to acknowledge all of you as well for just being here. Chi Sing, hi. Wei Hyuk as well. Tina, hi. Lai Fu, big V for me. ABC, Emily, V, value. Thank you so much, right? So I believe we have come to the end of today's AMAS show. All right. Thank you so much for sticking around. Really appreciate you guys over here. Final shout out, guys. As I say, we have shared with you some of the top bonus stocks right at the end. All right. And the 3 bonus stocks, recap, I covered the very first one, Geo Energy. In fact, on Monday, I already sent out a note to my clients in Philips Securities. Monday. Went up a bit. Today is Friday. Yeah, 4 days past already. So went up a bit, okay? Jia Yi covered UOBK and Bervin covered on SGX as well. So if you want to get some of these ideas on a daily basis, much faster than the time we take to cover it like this every Friday, because on Monday and Tuesday you might see it, right? Then we have to wait until Friday, then you know. Right? So the price might have gone up a bit, right? So if you want to get some of those ideas daily for free and no additional cost, find out how you can have a free trading account under me in Philips Securities if you are not yet a client of mine. All right, join many of our clients over here joining us every Friday. Get some value, get some personalized service, get some private trainings. You do not pay anything more. As I say, you need a trading account to buy and sell stock, right? So if you have a trading account, but you log into the app, to the online platform, but then nobody care about you, nobody send you anything, then don't you think so much, The link is right in the chat. Okay, Ken? So look forward to add more value to you guys as a client of mine. We send you some of our top ideas, trainings, videos, articles on the daily basis. Anything to add, Jia Yi and Bervin, before we end off today's session?
All right, so I'd just like to add that, okay, this month, I think we received quite a bit of requests when is Joey's next webinar. Just to recap a bit, the next webinar will be held on the 4th of August. July, don't have, sorry, you got to wait for about a month for the next webinar. But if you would like to sign up early, I would say sign up early for the webinar because I think the slots are limited to Zoom. All right, so do take the chance, click on the link in the chat to find out a little bit more and register for the next 1GT webinar happening on the 4th of August. Find out a little bit more about the framework, help yourself get a little bit more attuned to the framework for the second half of 2026. And I believe you will see much better results. All right, okay, that's all for me.
Yep, so I mean, those who are interested to find out more about framework, just sign up for the free webinar. Yep, so it's free anyways. And just to add on, so the next week we'll be covering on the US stocks, and I think it will be Z, me, and Joey. So if you're interested in on US stocks and want us to cover a quick analysis on it, join us next week, and hopefully I'll see the same group of you guys as well for next week AMAS. Yep.
All right, thank you so much. So well said. Yeah, I forgot to mention about the webinar. All right. Yeah. So as I say, I think this month, July, there's no webinar, there's no training. Unfortunately, we don't do this every other month, every other week. This is not really our full-time job. We're just doing our best to share. All right, to break down the whole structure, the whole framework, the tools that we're using. So the next one will be in August, 4th of August, next month, probably about a month's time now. No choice how you have to wait a bit, but the link is right in the chat. Register for this free webinar, and that's where I look forward to break it all down for you even more. We have a 7-step checklist that breaks down the entire one good trend strategy, all right, and the tools that we're using. So today you can see it's just pump. We covered like 15, almost 18 over stocks already, right? Don't have time to break it all down or explain too much about the strategy, but I think after the webinar you will learn a bit more. You'll be a bit clearer as well. Okay, Ken? So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. We look forward to see you in our next Friday AMAS session. Next Friday, back the US market. We'll see you guys. Have a good weekend. Take care. See you guys. Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend ahead.
Bye.